a good evening, and welcome into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. How's everybody doing out there? Thanks for checking in for another episode. Wasn't asking you, just asking our listeners. Another jam-packed episode tonight, and tonight I really mean that. This is going to be a long one, so let's jump right in and let me just list off, as I usually do, where you can find us online. First is our website, AHHPod.com, AHHPod.com. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. You can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, a reminder that we're now a part of Horror Facts Magazine, which is horrorfacts.com. You can go right on that website. It's a great resource if you're a horror fan for news, reviews, etc., etc. But the most important thing on there is their podcast section, where you can find our show alongside a bunch of other great shows. So check out horrorfacts.com if you haven't already. First and foremost, I must say, hope everybody had a great 4th of July, and apologies for the unplanned week off. But we back, baby. We back, and here we are. And again, I am not alone, as I never am. I'm joined by my fellow co-hosts, Andrew, Kat, and Matt. Ladies, or lady, gentlemen, what's going on?
What up?
Not
We're
a
here.
whole lot. We're living life. We're enjoying the summer.
It's the middle of July. Dog days are coming up.
Dog
Dude,
days,
the
baby.
struggle is real right now.
Sound of the hound.
The struggle is real.
Sound brought to you by Sounds
Do we
from the
have any
Hound.
sounds from the
We
hound?
don't have any sounds from the Hound.
That's what you're...
Nobody knows what we're talking about. Maybe we'll incorporate that at some point in the future.
Yes.
Speaking of the dog days of summer, our dog, the spooky hound dog, is upstairs. He is not taking part in this episode because he's a pain in my balls, and he will not be down here.
Screw you, Otis.
Anywho, guys, what's been going on? Would anyone like to lead off with what we've been watching in the 2 weeks prior? Matt, I know you're
I have a good amount.
always...
I have a good
on
amount, so
Yes.
if anyone has a short list they want to go first, that's fine.
I have like
six
I have
movies.
like four things I can talk about.
I can go first.
Yeah. Okay.
Because so I have 2 movies I've watched. One I am not going to talk about yet because it relates to a question we are going to be answering later, so I will wait for then.
Okay.
I watched a 2001 art house horror, maybe erotic horror you might call it, called Trouble Every Day. Did you watch that movie?
No, but when you said erotic horror 2001, I was like, I wonder if it's Trouble Every Day. I watched it probably like 3 months ago.
Oh, okay, so you have seen that movie.
Yeah. French Extreme.
I
I'm a
thought
close
that
fan.
movie was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
Where'd you find
it?
Shudder.
That was on Shudder. Yep.
Of course it was.
And Vincent Gallo was one of the main actors. It actually was it Sundance or was it which one was it? Was it Sundance or something? It was Claire Denis or Claire Denis. Claire Denis. I don't know if it's. I don't know if I was
Beatrice
it a French.
Dahl
Was
is in
this?
that.
It's like a French film, but it was
French
all
movie.
mostly in American or in English, not American.
In American.
Yeah, it had American.
You're in America,
it had
speak
American,
American?
people in it.
Yeah,
going to
but like it was
Paris.
like half and half. There, you didn't really need. There wasn't too many subtitles in it, and it was a wild concept for a movie. It was basically about this couple that was on their honeymoon that came from Denver, Colorado. They went to Paris, and basically, her husband was trying to meet up with another doctor that they had both been on like a research project, and they were essentially trying to figure out what I think, like it's a very vague movie. They're trying to find a cure for cannibalism because he suffered from it, and the other doctor's significant other suffered from it as well. But they only became cannibalistic during sex, so there would be these like there was a lot of nudity, a lot of sex in this movie. And the only time, what I gathered from it was the fact that once you started to orgasm, you started to eat the other person and overpower them. So, I don't want to get into
I wish you guys could see the look that Mike was just staring at Andrew.
it's a very hard movie to explain because it's like that's essentially what it was. They would be orgasming and then be like, "I'm going to eat your neck," and even this tiny woman would just overpower men.
Okay.
During this madness that she just ensued. It was very, it was beautifully shot, well written, extremely unique plot to a movie. A lot of holes in the plot, but that's fine.
Cronenberg-y.
It was very Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
so you have
gory.
me there.
It was extremely gory. The last 30 minutes of this movie are absolute fucking balls to the walls, nuts. It's an extreme slow burn before that, but it's grainy. It's just a very well done movie. And if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. I feel like
It's not for everyone.
trying to explain this movie, Kat, Do me a favor.
No,
Don't
I'm
ever
not gonna
watch
watch
this
it.
movie.
No, I have
Don't
no
ever
interest.
watch
No.
this movie because there are a few scenes in this movie that are so unsettling. So I finished watching this movie and I just looked at my TV and I was like, I gotta put Seinfeld on now. Like I need
Dude,
something lighthearted.
That's French extremity, my friend.
Dude, and
you
it was,
just
and I
dove
was, I
headfirst.
was like, you know who probably watched this movie after I finished? I was like, I
Matt.
bet you Matt's watched this movie. And I was like, I bet you Matt liked this movie.
I did.
And you did because it's an awesome movie.
It is very well
It is
done.
quite eerie how similar tastes you guys have.
So, wait,
Sounds like a very strange film. That category is about French phrases.
Amazing,
so let's just skip it.
amazing film.
Did you put
I
on
would
the-
say I would give that like a 7 out of 10. Like if you haven't seen it and you want to watch something
solid.
different, unique, watch it because it's not your run-of-the-mill horror movie.
Okay,
It's different. It's very artsy fartsy, which I like.
that is. Right
It's
up your
also
alley.
it's also not your basic fucking just slasher or just it's
it's
unique. It's differently
important.
done. It's
not the
a
same
movie you
old-
watch and it stays with you well past your viewing. Like I want to watch it again. As uncomfortable as that movie made me feel, I would love to watch that movie again.
You should watch some Gaspar Noé movies.
So when you threw on Seinfeld after, did you watch the episode where George eats the sub while he's having sex, just to kind of counter
The
balance?
Good
salt and
reference.
pepper. I mean, I may have.
Some spicy mustard.
It's possible.
Okay, and what's that film called again for those out there?
Trouble Every Day.
Trouble Every.
It is a very, like, you're either this side or you're this side.
Okay.
You either love it or you hate it or you're disgusted. And I was all three. I loved it, I hated it, and I was disgusted, and that's why I
Hey,
would watch
but
it.
it made you feel something.
Oh, it
You
was awesome. It was
experienced
a
something.
fantastic movie.
Good, excellent. I'd rather have that reaction than some of the shitty Blumhouse movies out there where it's just like
Oh.
a cheap fiber supplement where you put it in your system and it goes through you and makes you
There's-
feel like you
there's-
experienced something.
There's
but
no
you
need.
experienced
There's no
nothing.
need for those movies.
Right,
I don't need
yeah,
Metamucil. I need the real fucking deal.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got? What else we got besides?
I'll bring up my other movie.
Oh, that's
after
right.
that.
Okay, so just
all
those
I
two,
got.
right?
Just that one.
Why don't we let Matt go? Unless you have anything. I know we watched a lot of stuff
Well,
together.
I have one
over
by
the last-
myself, though.
Okay. What did you?
I watched His House.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you watched.
Yeah.
House?
His House. I don't know what you were. I think you were working.
I was
or
working.
Something.
Yeah, I was working.
And I was just kind of scrolling through Netflix, and this popped up, and I was like, "This kind of looks creepy." So I started watching the trailer, and I was like, "Nope, I'm just gonna put it on." So it's directed by Remy Weeks. It was a 2020 movie.
Remy Rifkin.
Well,
Don't worry about it. Just keep
Pass.
going. Yes.
pass.
Stop distracting her. Let her finish a thought.
So it's about two refugees that are coming from the Sudan and the war and all that stuff, and they're going into London to start over with their lives, and they've had a lot of different they have a dark past. They were both in tribes and everything, and ultimately, whatever there's like some sort of darkness that follows them to this new house, and they start hallucinating, and they say that there's some sort, and they're also being, very closely watched by this whatever like program that they're entering so that they can start their new life, but they're also like monitoring, saying, okay, well, you can only spend this much money, you have to live here, you have to do this, you have to do that in order to become a citizen ultimately, but right now you're only like a refugee here, so you have certain limitations. But so they're in this house, creepy things start happening, they start tearing off the wallpaper, the whole place has holes in it, so the guy comes to inspect it and is like, holy shit, like, what are you guys doing? And he says that he hears things in the walls, and like they look like absolute psychopaths, and so it's creepy. It's a super creepy movie. It's kind of artistic in a way too. It gets to that point, but
Artsy fartsy, as
yes.
Andrew said. Yeah.
So the main character, she's from Lovecraft Country.
Oh, okay.
Uni
Okay.
Musaku. She was in Lovecraft Country.
Who did
Matt-
she play in Lovecraft Country?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Matt Smith. He's in The Crown, and he's the guy.
He was in
plays
Last Night in
Philip
Soho.
Last Night in Soho.
Oh, which I saw you watch, Matt, right? Ah,
That's
okay.
one of my
Yeah,
Yep,
so
yep,
they have some pretty interesting people in that, and it's a very like culturally creepy kind of twist to it. It's interesting.
Sounds almost like a like a fish out of water type thing.
I've scrolled past that movie like 8 times, and every time I stop for like 5 seconds, and I'm like, I don't want to watch this movie, and then I never end up watching it.
Yeah.
Well worth it.
It was good.
Worth
I liked it.
Yeah, watch
yeah,
it.
I
What's
thought
called?
it was good.
2 thumbs way up.
2 thumbs
It was
way
like
way
a
up.
thumb and a half.
Thumb and a
Alright.
half. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
One
called.
thumb in the bum, thumb in a knuckle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thumb in a
And
knuck.
it's called His House, and it's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Her House.
Her house. His
Yeah.
house.
There's a lot of weird.
Their
it gets
house.
weirder as you go. But
Whose house?
I don't want to spoil anything, but it's good. It's creepy.
Yeah,
It's a creepy.
I'll have to check it out because I remember you were telling me you were watching it when I was working, and you said that you thought I would like it. So
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
I feel like I didn't think you would like it, and then as it kept going, I was like, maybe you would like this. So yeah.
Kat just watches creepy shit when you're not home. That's weird.
It is strange.
Yeah, she never wants to watch it when you're there.
Oh,
She
and I
does.
watched-
I'll give her some credit. She has a lot lately. Yeah.
I watched That Girl in a Picture too, on Netflix, a documentary about the Jane Doe body that got found. And
I heard about that.
Oh, right. So
Bad,
so
scary,
it was
like sad.
it spiraled
sad? Is
a
that
little
what you said?
out of
Oh, I think
control.
it's sad though. Sad story.
It was a sad story.
You don't want to watch it if it's sad.
Well,
Oh, I want to watch it.
Cannibals
of
is
those-
fine.
It's
but-
Cannibals fun. I watch
the level of concern in your voice and
Really?
on
We're
your face
like,
when
oh,
you
is
just
it
like,
sad, though?
is it like really sad?
Well, because it's when it's like a real when it's a real life documentary and it's just a
Yeah.
sad ending. Like
Yeah,
nobody
it's
has
miserable.
nobody has time for that.
So I walked in for about the last half hour of this after I got out of work, and it was definitely strange. It was a lot of
so-
shit going on. Yeah.
yeah, you find out this girl had like.
Don't give it away. We haven't watched it.
Well, this girl has a huge backstory. We'll say a very, very dark backstory with like being raped and her family and like moving around a ton and her dad and like there's a bunch of terrible things that happened to this girl.
Something
through
for
her
the whole
life.
family. Jesus.
Yeah.
Not to laugh, but yeah, that was
But
pretty funny.
yeah, it's yeah, and she leads different lives. Like she's one girl when she's growing up, she's another girl when she's in high school, she's another girl when she's in her 20s.
She's
and
like
she
a
ultimately
shapeshifter.
dies. Like she has different names, different
Identity
people.
crisis.
It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts.
That does sound.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very
it
sad.
sounds very sad.
yeah.
Thanks
So,
for ruining my night.
The Girl in the Picture. Yeah, it's a
Girl in the
Netflix-
Picture, also on Netflix.
Netflix documentary.
Dude, Netflix documentaries, I will like. Their movie selection is, I would for sure call subpar, but for at least horror movies. But their documentaries that they make
Yeah.
are fucking dope.
Yeah,
Fire on
they
all
make-
cylinders between
Yeah.
the Night Stalker one, the John Wayne Gacy one was awesome, the Bundy tapes, that was
Yeah.
awesome.
That like don't fuck with cats thing.
Yeah, that one was.
That was like the
fucking
first one I watched.
See,
but
I didn't
was
watch
like,
that.
Whoa, dude, this is legit. Yeah, no, it's
The
fucking.
one with
I'm,
the like
wild.
woman like that straps like the bomb around the guy's neck.
Oh,
and it's like, what
what's
was
that
it?
one called? I know exactly. Evil Genius?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That one's wild
the
too.
Cecil Hotel one.
Cecil
Yeah,
Hotel
that
one
was
was
a
great.
really good one.
That was super
okay.
creepy.
The Cecil Hotel one was a little bit long, but it was still good
Yeah.
though. It was
They're
still,
all
I
pretty
liked it.
long.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
you are right though. They do hit it out of the park with most of their document series.
HBO has
Yeah.
bangers.
They do. Yeah. What was the big one with Robert Durst? The Jinx. That one was really good.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That was on
Funny you mentioned
HBO
that.
though.
HBO. So we were just talking about
Oh,
HBO.
sorry,
Yeah.
I was
That's
reading something.
No worries. All right, Kat. I know you'll chime back in when I talk about some of the stuff that
The
we watched
staircase.
together,
That's
right?
another good one.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen that yet.
That's very good.
Matt, what about you,
All
my
right,
friend?
I got a lot.
Okay.
So a few of these I'm gonna kind of breeze through because they're rewatches. So real quick, I'll give you The Devil's Rejects. I rewatched the other night. I saw this article on Bloody Disgusting that was about how Rosario Dawson had this role as a nurse in The Devil's Rejects in a deleted scene where Dr. Satan gets brought from the house into a hospital and he like rips her throat out. And it was pretty rad. It was super violent, super bloody, very Rob Zombie-ish. But he was like, dude, where Devil's Rejects is such a way more like serious movie than House of a Thousand Corpses. He's like, that character just does not make sense.
Fit. Yeah.
So I respect that decision, but I gave Devil's Rejects a rewatch.
Holds up as well as the
Yeah,
last time.
dude, the soundtrack in that movie is so
good.
fucking good.
Great use of Freebird.
It's just like non-stop, like every song that comes on. It's just a lot of driving.
Yeah.
So I kind of noticed that. I'm like, oh, it kind of makes sense. It's just like a little breeze through. You get a little bit of the song. So very good soundtrack. Still violent as hell when the girl runs around with the fucking face on her face. Gets hit by a truck. Brutal.
Yeah.
I rewatched
I was
Henry.
saying, speaking of zombie, new Monsters trailer tomorrow, by the way.
I
too.
know,
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yep. Go ahead. Sorry.
Henry
not
Portrait of a
watching
Serial
trailers.
Killer.
You're not.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It's yeah.
That's a movie that makes you feel icky when you watch it.
Oh,
But
super
it's so good.
Yeah.
But
Michael
there's
Rooker.
something about that movie I think that captures something I don't think any horror movie I've ever seen has, and it's just that like this dude lives like up your street. Like this is like someone. It's just you think of how many fucking people are in our world, and especially in America, and how fucking crazy everybody is now. And it's just like, dude, like, especially back in the 80s when you can just, like, do whatever the fuck you want. And, like, it was so hard to trace everything. It was like, dude, this guy's just driving around killing whoever he wants, just following people.
Someone
like,
within a 5-mile radius of us right now has probably killed someone.
Oh, yeah.
probably, yeah.
And there's probably more than one, and they've probably killed more than one people.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Not saying it's me, but
Is
you
it
never-
though?
It's such a fucking grimy,
Oh, it's so good.
shitty like, not shitty in the sense it's a bad movie, but just, like, shitty, like, it's like the depths of like the bottom of the barrel fucking people in this movie. Michael Rooker is so fucking good in it.
He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
He's great
he
in
kills it.
everything
Apparently,
in.
he's reuniting with that director to make some sort of kind of like low key-ish sequel to that.
I feel like I did see something
How
about
old
that.
is he?
Old enough.
Still
I
acting,
guess.
dude.
Still ripping,
He's in those
dude.
Guardians of the Galaxy movies. He was in The Walking Dead for a
I
long
don't know.
time. Slither.
What's Guardians?
That's a movie in the Marvel
Oh,
Cinematic
yeah, so
Universe
no
that you
interest.
pay no attention to. Yes, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I get like the only movie that I think the first time I saw it that made me feel similarly to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer was Maniac. The first time I saw
Oh,
Maniac,
yeah.
Yeah.
that movie fucked.
I
fucked
almost
me
thought,
up.
I thought of bringing that up, but I want to save that movie for one of my review picks.
Oh,
So I don't
that's
wanna
going
talk
to
too
be
much
one
about
of my
Maniac.
favorite review picks. I can't. Can we do that? No, just kidding.
Okay.
Yep.
Go
I did.
for it.
So July 3rd is National Return of the Living Dead Day. If you didn't know, I remember I sent you guys that
Yep,
picture.
I sure did. Yep.
So I rewatched that. What a fun fucking capture of just like it's so funny that there's Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer from 1986, and then there's Return of the Living Dead from 1985. Probably not even a full year apart from each other, and these are like polar opposite fucking movies. There's the like just sickly fucking misery that is Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, and then this like fun, gooey, hilarious ridiculousness that really captures like the 80s Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Friday the 13th, million sequels, like this huge onslaught of just fun, chaotic horror movies. And that has to be, if you were to name a top 3, that's got to be within that top 3. For sure. That movie fucking kicks ass, and it is funny as shit still, even like watching it today. Like the campiness of it, their jokes are they're still good. They're still good jokes. So, and then the effects are 80s, but I'm gonna do it. So
it's to be expected.
my new movies that I watched this movie from 2008 called Splinter. Not good. It's about
Not great,
this,
Bob.
It's about this couple that are like on vacation going camping, and then they get tied up with this like criminal couple. And they have to hole up at a gas station because there's some sort of parasitic infection that's creeping around, and it's causing people to like develop these like wooden spores out of their body and become like these monster creature things. Wicked heavy like shaky cam bullshit, so you can't really see what's going on whenever
Great concept.
anything exciting's going on. Nah, I mean yeah.
Well,
but,
like the general idea. For
it
the
has
movie.
the main dude in it is the nerdy kid from Road Trip.
Oh.
Like the kid with the glasses, like the smart kid
Oh,
that smokes
no
the
way.
weed with the
Yeah,
dog.
that's funny. Yeah, okay.
I forget his name off the top of my head, but yeah, no, I wasn't impressed, so I was kind of bummed out. And then I did watch Last Night in Soho. Finally, I hadn't seen it yet.
What did you think?
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
That movie was
Awesome.
fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very wildly entertaining.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a ghost story
Good man,
that
by
was
the way.
mixed with like I felt like I was watching like a fucking. It was like The Great Gatsby as a ghost story, so it was like very exciting.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it just captured that like old fucking big exciting like you know what I mean, that glamorous lifestyle of the '60s. And granted, Great Gatsby I think is even more the '60s.
20s.
But, yeah,
Yeah.
the Roaring 20s.
20s,
Yeah. Great twist, good gore, good fucking scares, good story, good act, just top to bottom.
Awesome.
Great movie.
Great soundtrack.
Original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the soundtrack was fucking rad too.
Downtown. Where? Is that another Seinfeld reference?
And then
We've already done
I did watch Crimes of the Future.
Go.
that.
So
What did you think?
it's confusing.
Is
So
it?
I had to like kind of read into it after, but it is good. It's slow. And the gross outs are for sure gross. So basically Viggo Mortensen plays this guy who can regenerate organs on his own, and he's kind of being like pursued to exploit that and like kind of manufacture this whole like thing. And there's this tie. I don't want to like give a lot of it away.
No, I don't
because
want you to give any
Yeah.
of it.
Less the better.
Yeah, there's
I wanna
this
see the movie,
tie-in
so I
with
need
the
to watch the
certain
movie.
people who have been kind of ingesting things throughout their lives and the way that all plays out. So it's very hyperbolic for like what the human body endures frequently every single day on like a micro fucking scale. But it was cool. It was interesting. It's David Cronenberg.
I love slow
So-
burns.
So is
It's-
it as nauseating and disgusting as it was made out to be when it was in the festival circuit?
I
With people
mean,
walking out.
if you're like not into like surgery stuff, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, I don't know if I am. I'd watch it. I'd check it out.
I'm gonna 100% watch that movie. I
Yeah.
can't wait to watch that.
There's a lot of just like you're just like, like you can like feel it.
But if
You
I'm
know
watching
what
a
I
horror
mean?
movie, to me, that is the best feeling you can ever get in the world. It's just that, like,
Yeah, but like, I'm just, like you
this
can
is
literally
even-
like you can
Oh,
like
like
you're
you-
like oh
yeah, but it's
like you know when
it's
you like when you're
bone,
like
bone tomahawk,
tomahawk?
like
Oh,
that
God.
scene.
no like you know like see
Or
I get freaked
Terrifier.
out if I like itch my belly button because I feel like I'm gonna like
Oh, I
unravel
never.
my
I'm not
belly.
sticking my
Yeah,
finger in my
yeah,
belly.
Well, I mean, if my belly button itches, I itch it.
Yeah.
But like,
my ear, yeah, my belly.
yeah,
button.
but like it's just like that's weird because I know there's so many internal organs behind it. So I'm like, ugh.
I'm with Matt. I get way more freaked out itching my belly button than I do
I
itching my
I
ear.
just kind of
Oh,
like
I
I try to
don't-
just
I
like
don't
kind
itch
of
my
rub
belly
over.
I
button.
itch my ear 8,000 times
Yeah,
a day,
but-
and I
but-
rarely touch my
Does
belly
your belly
button.
button
Oh,
never
dude.
really get itchy?
Sometimes.
Not really, but I just kind of go like this.
Yeah, like you
So-
just rub the outside. Just,
Yeah.
Well, it's such a hard knob. It's like this weird.
Well, I don't know. I have
an
an
innie or
I have
an
an
outie?
I have an innie. I
I
don't
do,
drive.
but the
an outie.
innie is like
I can't afford an outie.
it's so hard. Who wants an outie?
Dude, when
Oh,
Sarah
my
was
gosh.
pregnant and her
Never
belly
mind.
button
Yeah.
popped out, I was just
That
like
happens to- I
mortified.
think
for
Yeah,
so
that-
long. I was like, whoa.
yeah.
What is going on?
I understand.
It's like
I
the
understand.
movie. It's like Alien.
I understand.
yet.
No, I understand.
But there's that kind of like you get these kind of like visceral feelings. Like there's a lot of like things going inside of people and rooting around and like.
Oh,
But
sounds
there's like
amazing.
this weird like they get this like weird like pleasurable sensation from so it's very uncomfortable. You're like ugh, like it's the
I
last
can't-
thing I'd want to
I
fucking feel.
can't wait
Like-
to watch this movie.
Yeah.
You'll like it if you like. Well, that's why I was gonna say if you like Trouble Every Day, you'll listen. So
It's weird.
it's not that
It's not that
same
level.
page, but there's
But it's the
this
same
weird pain
concept.
and pleasure kind
Yeah.
of yeah.
It just excites me that Cronenberg is still firing on all cylinders, and he's
We
no
also
spring
have
chicken.
Brandon
you know?
Cronenberg too.
Well, he may come up later on in this episode.
Spring
We shall see. Mr. Audette, do you have anything else that you want to run through?
I have this one little side blip I want to give. It's not something that I watched recently. I've seen it before, but I got to watch somebody else watch it. So Sarah kind of stumbled upon this article about Ari Aster and his short films that he's done before.
Okay.
And she watched The Strange Thing About the Johnsons from 2011. 30-minute short film, very twisted.
Yeah.
So have you seen it?
I have not.
Do you
I've
know
heard.
what it's about?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it. Though.
I'm not going to give a word away about what it's about.
Yeah, don't. I would
Don't
like to
say
watch
anything.
it. Yeah. Can you watch
30
it on
minutes,
where
like,
can
It's
you watch
very
it?
fucked up.
Can you watch it on YouTube? Where can you find it?
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
You can watch it on
We'll watch
YouTube.
it.
It's super twisted. There's like sexual abuse things in it, but it's different. But I'll throw that out there just because I know that can be like a trigger thing. So just
Okay, all
know
right.
that.
Yeah,
Sure,
Trigger
sure.
warning.
Sarah watched it and she was like, "Dude, like that guy's fucked up." And I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, Ari Aster rocks." So that's someone I have kind of in mind for later discussion
Cool.
as well.
Okay.
So.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So I'll go quickly through mine. So first and foremost, last time we recorded, we talked about the Black Phone at length, and I think we all made pretty clearly our thoughts on the movie. I did finish today, actually, I guess if you want to, I don't know if I consider it reading a book. I finished the audiobook version of 20th Century Ghosts by Joe Hill, so I listened to all of the short
You still
stories.
read it.
I gotta blast through the rest
Yeah.
of those two.
So basically, I mean, it's good. It's very good. A lot of the stories are like I think it's your cup of tea, Andrew, if you ever decided you want to read, because a lot of the stories are really strange and really ambiguous. And there were a number of stories in it that I had to like Google what the fuck they were about after the fact,
What did the Google say?
which I thought was interesting. So there's like
away.
25 stories in this collection. It's like a 10-hour audiobook.
Jesus
The
Christ.
stories are all very short.
Well,
too.
I'm in the
books
car.
are big.
I'm in the car quite a bit doing estimates for
25
work.
stories,
so.
though. What are they, like 10 pages?
I also
Yeah.
listen to my audiobooks on 1.5 speed, so it does like a 2-hour story.
I can barely, like, take in something when I'm staring at it, reading it,
I'm with
let
Andrew.
alone at double speed.
I'm a
I'd be
speed
like,
I'm a speed reader, and I like when people talk really slow on podcasts, it bugs the fucking shit out of me. So
I was
I
gonna
can't.
say,
Yeah.
whenever we're in the car and you have a podcast on, it's like, so blah, 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 blah,
Most
blah, blah. I'm like,
podcasts,
can we
most
turn this
podcasts I
off?
listen.
I get that with a podcast,
like
though. I
listening
get
to, like,
that as a
Rawson.
podcast, but if it was a book, I would have so much trouble.
Well,
with
books are slower.
But I also don't read books.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
so,
Mike's speed is just go.
Po-
Apparently.
so podcasts I listen to on 1.2 speed, so it's a little bit faster.
Just slightly.
Audiobooks, I can't stand how slow they are because a lot of the language is like dramatized,
Yeah.
and these people
That's-
they say performed by a person. So it's like
God.
it's performed.
Yeah.
Well, that's
So
kinda
like
cool. I like
20th
that.
Century Ghost, I listened to in 1.5 speed, and I listened to it probably in like, I don't know, 6 hours, something like that. It's good. It's good, not great. Joe Hill is Stephen King's weird, so this is saying something. Joe Hill is a much more dark fantasy style writer than Stephen King. Stephen King is much more pure horror. I have mixed feelings on Joe Hill, but I would overall, if you want to get into like a new horror author, the best way to do that is with short stories, I think, because it gives you little quick hits
only thing
on their stories. And this is a good collection to get your feet wet with Joe Hill. So I finished that. It's good, not great. And I just fired up today. I'm about an hour and a half into. Last time I read this, I actually physically read this book, was in high school. Peter Benchley's Jaws.
I saw you.
And now I am listening to the audiobook version, and I want to see if I remember the book as fondly as I did from high school, because I know that there are some significant differences between the movie and the book that they left out. So I'll report back on that later. But yeah, in terms of books, that's what I got. But the biggest things that I've watched over the last couple of weeks, I feel like we have to say this real
Have
quick.
we talked about it?
We have to say, okay, Matt, I don't think you finished it.
No.
What are our Cat Andrew? What are our thoughts?
gonna get there anytime soon.
Spoiler free. The end of season 4 for Stranger Things.
Best season of Stranger Things.
Stranger 4.
Awesome,
Stranger Things.
awesome ending. Great lead into season 5. If you haven't watched it, time to fucking get on the boat. They're long. The episodes are long. But if you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, it's one season.
It's
maybe
worth it.
totals about 12 hours.
Yeah.
So that's like 12-hour-long episodes.
So on a rainy
You just-
day,
but you just gotta like you can pause 45 minutes in and continue on later.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to just binge this because it's a hard show to binge.
lot.
But
you want to though.
you need to. You don't
Yeah.
you don't want to. You have to. If you don't, then I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And this is from someone that hates watching television shows.
Yeah. Kat, your thoughts on Stranger Things 4?
I loved it. I
Yeah.
thought it was one of the best seasons so far.
Now,
And
and that says something because you were the type of person going into this season where you weren't a huge fan of Stranger Things.
no, I mean,
You said it was
No.
okay. You
I
weren't
think
a
it's
huge
okay.
fan.
I
Yeah.
think the first few seasons were kind of rough for me to get into. Just kind of dumb. I don't know. They were slow. I don't know. It's corny. I could take it or leave it, but I feel like this season was a lot more interesting in like a horror sense too. Like it was much more of a thriller. Like it was constant action. Like
the most horror season by far. Huge Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. Specifically,
Yeah.
I'd say like
It's not even that though.
the third one, Dream Warriors.
It's
very
the best.
much.
It's
Yeah.
the best
Arguably the best
quadrant of stories
Yeah.
that they've done. It's like 4 different stories
Right.
all going that they've done. Yeah,
There's the
quadrant.
Okay,
Are any of them quadrants?
Okay, so I want to say the
three-way?
California story and the Russia story kind of stink for
The
a little
one-
bit until
the-
they don't.
Stink, but they're at least
The
they're
California
at least C pluses.
The California
Don't
story
stink.
stinks the entire time. Russia gets good towards the end.
the one thing.
Russia is one of the best stories.
Took too long to get there.
That's where all your monsters
No,
are. that
I
I know, but
agree.
it took
so
too
much.
long to get there. Took too long to get
The
there.
one thing in the whole
worms.
series.
Monsters.
The one thing
There's
in
all
the
your
whole
monsters.
There's no worms.
that
There's no
I could
worms.
do without is Winona Ryder. I could throw her off the cliff. She sucks.
We're giving a
This
brief
whole
synopsis.
series,
We don't need to talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Winona
She's
Ryder.
so annoying. She's
I-
just her character is obnoxious.
I said it a few weeks back. I'm all set with the entire not
Too
not
bad-
you, Andrew
no,
Byers.
too bad, Mike, because you better get used to it.
The entire Byers family in Stranger Things. I'm sick of. I'm sick
Yeah.
of. No,
But
I'm sick of
apparently
Will.
the
I'm sick
Duffer,
of Jonathan. I'm sick
brothers
of.
aren't, though,
I
because
know,
that's
I know.
going to be the main...
And what's Winona Ryder's character?
Janet?
Janet
Jill?
Byers. Jill. Yeah, something Byers.
my mom is...
Yeah, Janet. Oh, that's your mom. That's actually your mom.
Joyce.
Joyce Byers. I knew it was.
I knew it was a J.
No, just in that entire
3
series,
name,
she bothers me.
short
Like
name.
from season
Yeah,
one.
She
on.
was really good in season 1. This season, I feel like they're running out of stuff for all of them to do.
Yeah.
Which is what the weakest. But I mean, the parts that are great, fantastic, awesome action at the end. I thought it was weird they divided the season up into 7 episodes for the first part and 2 episodes for the last part. The last 2 weren't as good as the first 7 were.
It's like a
but it was
Walking
still
Dead
good.
mid-season
It's
finale.
still good.
It's the 11 backstory that is what makes this...
I think so too. And without giving a lot away, and I think that they definitely leave it on a pretty much a huge cliffhanger
Oh,
and
yeah.
setting it up for the final season
Oh,
to
but
be
you know what's going to
unbelievable.
happen.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen.
Know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, Stranger Things 4, if you haven't watched it yet, go back and check it out.
Check it out.
Looking at you.
I'm cruising. Hey, listen, I'm cruising through.
I
the
know,
rest
I
of
know.
it.
It's
takes a while.
a
I have
commitment.
a baby.
It's a
It's
commitment.
hard.
Yes.
It's
She
very
likes to watch Elmo.
That's
I know.
correct.
You'd be like, just
Elmo likes
Here, why don't you
Stranger
just
Things.
watch me while I watch TV?
Well, when I get her, whenever I'm watching her,
Can't
I'm
even
pretty
have
good
them
at.
on in
I
the
can get her to
background.
like nap in the daytime, and if I'm lucky, I get a good 2 hours.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I just fucking crush a movie.
Right,
before I
yeah.
watch.
All right, so that's Stranger Things 4, obviously available on Netflix. Matt, Kat, and I also checked out The Cursed, finally.
Yes.
I know you've been kind
Yeah.
of championing
I
this
forgot that we
movie for a
watched that.
while.
I know. I was excited when
Yeah.
you said that.
Kat, what'd you think of this?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I would
was
say
kind
not
of
your
half
type of
watching
movie.
it too. Like I wasn't like totally invested in it because I was like, oh, well, we'll put it on, and I thought it was okay.
It's strange.
It's
different.
strange. Yeah.
It was very different. It was almost like you're combining a gothic ghost story with a monster movie.
Yeah.
Is
Because
what
when
I'll
you
say.
first put on the trailer, I was like, oh, that looks really interesting, and I felt like it just was kind of slow.
It was very
Especially in the
long.
beginning, and I was like, oh, I'm having
Well, because
a hard time
it took
watching
me a
this.
hard time finding out what the fuck was like going on.
Okay, so I wasn't alone in that because
Yeah.
I said to Mike, I was like, what?
Like, who
Can
are
you
these
catch
people?
up in the
What are
last,
they doing?
Like, half hour of
Yeah.
this movie? Like I've been watching it, but I don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
what am I?
And
not
I saw it in
looking for?
theaters. Like,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like looking at this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
What's happening?
When you figure out what's going on, it's really good.
Yeah.
The monster design is very cool, very different than what you're used to once you kind of watch the movie and understand what type of story they're trying to tell. And I think pretty early on, I actually don't
Very
even
dark.
very
Yeah,
dark.
it was very
Yeah.
dark.
I don't remember the trailer for this movie, so I don't know if they give away what exactly you're dealing with in the trailer. So maybe it's not a spoiler, but if you haven't seen the trailer and you go in blind, I feel like you're going to be a little bit more surprised.
Yeah.
The poster gives away some stuff too, because I remember I posted the picture on Instagram. You can kind of see what we're dealing with here.
Or even still, it was not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I wasn't.
And
what
I was
expecting.
kind of like fully,
Yeah,
like I had my fucking, I was waist deep in it by
Yeah.
the time I went and saw it.
I will say it's absolutely not the worst movie I've seen this year. By far, it's
Yeah.
probably closer to the top than it is to the bottom.
I
yeah.
would say it's
Yeah.
within the top 5
Yeah.
for me.
I'll have to-
I
I'll
really
have to
like
Yeah,
it.
I have to go back and
Yes.
I don't have my rankings in front of me. I have to go back and look at them again, but I need a little bit more time to decompress and think about that. But
With
yeah,
that wide angle shot.
Decompose.
unbelievable,
Right?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
was that not just like out of
Decompress,
nowhere,
decompose.
like this crazy, like
Yeah.
great shot
Yeah,
that
you,
they did?
You gave me that. You gave me that text. So I was like kind of looking for it, and I was like, "Yep, there it is, right
Yeah.
there." Yeah. So yeah, that's called The Cursed. I rented it on Google TV for like $3. So yeah, go out and watch The
Love
Cursed.
Google T.
Google TV, indeed, baby.
I want to
And
say it's like 100 minutes. It's
Yeah.
not
I watched
something
No,
the
too
four
yeah,
bad.
documentaries on
yeah.
Tubi last night. So
also, won't spend a ton of time on this, but I think probably my biggest, most pleasant surprise over the last 2 weeks, and Kat, you can throw your comments in here too. I've heard people talk about it, was skeptical, given the fact that it started out on CBS, and I say this, but I also was a huge fan of Hannibal, and it's a show called Evil, and it's really fucking good.
I've
It's
heard.
really-
I kind of want to start.
I need
trying
to
get
start
into it.
watching. I watched a few
I gotta watch
episodes
Stranger
like
Things.
2 years
Dude,
ago.
Yeah, right?
it's
Because
So
my
really-
ex-girlfriend at the time liked it, and I
Yeah.
was like, "This is a."
I remember you telling me your old
Yeah.
old roommate,
My
your
old lady.
Your old
roommate.
woman.
My old roommate liked the show,
Mm.
and I was like, "Ugh, "It's an NBC show," and I loved Hannibal though. That was an NBC show.
Yeah.
But like sometimes these shows on NBC, like they're still just as
X-Files
fucked
was a
up.
cable show, and this is a
This
lot
show
like
is
the X-Files.
way more fucked up though. Like at least what
Yeah.
I remember for like the first season.
Don't you dare besmirch the X-Files. I love the X-Files so much. Yeah, but Evil's pretty goddamn cool. It's like the X-Files, but more paranormal. And if, like, instead of being employed by the FBI, they're employed by the Catholic Church to investigate exorcisms and demons. And
That was what
Yeah.
threw me when we first started watching. I was like, "Ugh, I don't know if I want to watch this." Like, it feels like
It seemed
it
cheesy
seems
as
like
fuck.
it's so repetitive and like Catholic Church and
But it's
demons
actually
and
really good.
exorcisms and all that stuff.
dude,
Yeah.
it's got some really
it's
edgy
good,
shit
yeah.
for a show that was on cable. Shit
Yeah.
like a lot like
Dude,
Hannibal.
Times are changing, man.
Yeah.
Like you can just kind of get
As,
away.
as
You
they
can
should.
say, you can
Dude,
say the F
how,
word
how can
now.
these cable channels can't possibly even hope to keep up with streaming services if they don't start doing
yeah,
edgier
they
shit?
gotta, they gotta start stepping
Like
up.
you, eventually you
Or at
have
least
to
just
realize
have good
that you're.
content.
Eventually you're gonna have to realize that your demographic isn't the loser boomers. that exist. It's like the newer generation.
They're all going to die eventually.
Yeah,
They need
no
to
one
be
has time for them.
entertained.
It's like the Pine Hills are going to be completely useless when no old people want to live there.
They're like, they just have one Comcast
That's just going to
box.
be. That's going to be like a
Yeah.
Russian like area after fucking Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Like nobody's going to be there anymore because it's a bunch of old people that want to live on top of each other.
All right.
And we digress.
We're getting off topic. We haven't even
I-
talked about our topic yet. So I would say
ask a question.
I would. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
We're off topic.
So yeah, I would say The Cursed. Check out The Cursed, and it's on Paramount Plus, and so it's no longer on CBS. Paramount Plus has picked it up as an exclusive show, so it's
Evil,
now.
Evil, not The Cursed.
What did I say? The Cursed.
The Cursed.
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yes.
Remember, it's my
Yes.
fault.
Yes.
I apologize.
Yes. So yeah, that's what I got. Evil, The Cursed, and Stranger Things 4, as well as 20th
Now that's
Century
streaming
Ghosts
to watch regularly on
Paramount Plus.
Yes.
Yep.
Ooh,
Yep.
we get a new South Park
You-
special tomorrow
Oh,
too. That's reminding me of
Right,
that.
I forgot
Hell
about
yeah.
that.
I
So
only have Paramount.
Paramount Plus is
I'll let you
sneaky.
borrow mine.
Paramount Plus is sneaky because you can watch some shit for free, but any of the new stuff you have to have a paid account to watch.
Yeah.
So you have to have that.
If we're talking about upcoming shows, there's a new one
not.
tonight.
Oh, What We Do in the Shadows returns tonight. Yes.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
it.
this
There
is
we
why
go.
Wow,
There
we
we
gotta-
go, Kat.
we got this is going to be a long one anyway. Like we said, we got to move because I have a couple news items to talk. So maybe let's take a
Is that
little
part of the
pause
news?
here for a second. Yeah.
The What We Do in the Shadows?
Yes.
news?
Yep. Maybe we take a pause for a second here, and we'll come right back. All right. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Evil.
Hold the presses. Just
All right, so let's talk some. There's been a couple newsworthy items that have come out since the last time we recorded. So why don't we talk about these things really quick? And Matt just kind of brought it up. This was a huge disappointment to me because we kind of got the first bits of news about the Salem's Lot remake that I think we've talked about a little bit on this show. Being directed by Gary Dauberman, who's famous for working on the It movies and also, I believe, some of the Conjuring franchise spin-offs. So he's got some chops, and I know there's some good actors in this, and it's my favorite Stephen King book.
Me too.
Unfortunately, it got pushed back to 2023. Now, I don't know if that's because the studio thinks they have a hit and they want to push it off to a different season. I don't know if it's a good sign, to be honest, but the only other piece of news that came out of this announcement was the fact that the movie itself is going to take place in the 70s, which is when the original book takes place. So it's not going to be updated and modernized.
Yeah.
So beyond that, no news that I've seen regarding the future of Salem's Lot or what it's actually about.
I'm not gonna take the hit thing being like a big hit if you're gonna release a movie like Salem's Lot and your initial release date is September 9th, Halloween season. I
Yeah.
don't think you get a better release date. I have a feeling they did some sort of test screening and something
Went
wasn't
poorly.
well. Whether they need to change an ending, there was too much violence they think they need to cut out, or something. Something didn't work. I have a feeling they're making some edits and then they're going to re-release it. That's my...
That would be the smart thing to do if
Assumption.
something's not working. Fix it.
And I'm hoping that it's not anything like dumb and that it's like they can just kind of... Maybe they want to rework an ending, be a little more closer to
Maybe
the book, something like that.
Stephen King got involved and was like, I don't like this.
Well, he
I don't think
usually
so.
he doesn't really
Usually his-
interfere too much in his
Yeah.
adaptations
No?
lately. I think he kind of lets people do their own thing, as long as it doesn't completely bastardize the source material. That's the vibe that I've gotten. This decision reeks to me of post-original shooting executive and studio interference. To be honest, so
That's
I would.
what I'm saying, yeah.
I agree with you. I think there's probably some reshoots involved or something like that. So we'll see what happens with Salem's Lot. I still have some cautious optimism. Lewis Pullman's going to be in it. He's going to play Ben Mears, and he was awesome in Outer Range, which I don't think
Bill
he finished.
Pullman's. Nope, never
Bill
finished
Pullman's
that.
kid.
See, that's
Yeah.
what I do with shows.
Yep, that's true. So yeah, that's the most
Same.
depressing part of news. As an Amazon truck pulls by our house and our dog is going bananas. What's up, Otis?
Yes, yeah.
Couple quick things, and then
You can tell by the bark.
couple quick things, and then one
Yeah.
big thing to end with before we jump into our future of horror
Truck's
discussion
bigger,
here. Tonight, as of this recording, which would be today's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The new season of What We Do in the Shadows premieres on FX and on Hulu,
Sweet.
and I fucking love that show.
Today.
Can't wait to watch it. So it'll be available at 10 p.m. on Tuesday of this week.
Which is
If
today.
you haven't watched What We Do in the Shadows, I would highly recommend checking out the show. If you like the movie, check out the show. If you haven't seen the movie, check out the show. The show's
And
fucking
the movie.
great. It's
I
so
can't stay up
unbelievably
that
awesome.
late anymore.
I know.
But you can watch it on demand the next day.
I know, yeah. We record it and then I'm like, yeah.
I think they go straight to Hulu now.
Oh, you know what? I think they do.
Some of them do.
I
Yeah.
think they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know for sure, but
No, I think they do. I think you're right on that. I think it's like the next day they'll be on Hulu, maybe.
Yeah.
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 Also, another quick thing, if you are interested in checking out The Black Phone, if you did not catch it in theaters, it'll be on demand Friday of this week. So you'll be able to rent it from Amazon. You'll be able to rent it from Google TV.
Big surprise.
Yep.
That was fast.
Yeah, it was quick. So
who gets Blumhouse? HBO?
That's a good question. So I think it's not going to a streaming service right now. It's going to it's going to like the platforms we can pay for.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah, but I don't know who gets. I don't know who gets.
That's
Blumhouse.
Amazon.
Curious.
That's
I think
Amazon.
it's got to be shared between Netflix and HBO.
I feel like it might be HBO Max.
They have a shit ton of Blumhouse on there right now.
Yeah, it might be. Very well, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but
you're probably right.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
There hasn't been one Blumhouse movie that came out that didn't go to HBO Max.
It's all trash anyway.
Yeah. So, last piece of pretty big news here. This is something that I saw recently on Bloody Disgusting, and this is a pretty big deal, and I think this speaks to how big of a hit that Universal thinks they have on their hands with the upcoming film called Nope from Jordan Peele. So we were just talking about this a little while ago. So that comes out next week, I believe, which means that it'll be covered on our show the week after that, due to our recording schedule. Looks awesome. I want to know as little about it as possible, so I'll keep. There's not really any spoilers in here, but apparently in the movie, there's a theme park that plays a huge part of the plot and the setting.
Cool.
They actually built this theme park for the movie.
Oh.
It's like an old west, like gold rush type of theme park that's called Jupiter's Claim.
Is it still there? Can you go visit it?
So they wherever they shot it, they disassembled the set, shipped it to Los Angeles, and on the
They must have got paid a lot of money to do that.
The on the Universal Studios Hollywood Tram Tour, there's going to be a permanent section where you can walk through the theme park that they used for Nope.
Wow.
You can actually walk through it. So it's going to be in the same section. Apparently, like they kept the War of the Worlds remake with Tom Cruise, the crashed airplane set. That's also on the back lot at Universal Studios in Hollywood. So it's going to be right next to that. And also the Psycho House, the original Psycho House from when they shot Psychos on that back lot. So all of these things are in the same area. Cool little area if you're a fan of horror. So
That's the one in Hollywood, you said?
that's the one in Hollywood, Universal Studios Hollywood only, and it marks the first time that a studio tour attraction is opened. It's opening the day that Nope comes out. I forgot to mention
Great
that.
marketing move.
Yep, launched on the same day, and also movie comes out the same day.
Cool.
Pretty
Very
cool.
What, next Friday?
I believe it's next Thursday evening would be the first would be the first showings, and then it's out wide release on
22nd.
Friday. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so
Cool.
Nope looks great, but that's a pretty cool little thing. So that's what I got for news, guys. Are we ready to finally jump into our discussion?
Get to the
That
digestive
was a
tract.
hell of an opening.
Right? I know, my God.
Ready.
Well, we had a lot of pent-up horror energy over the last couple of weeks, so I'm glad we got it all out of our system. But we have a lot more to discuss. So, I guess we should probably talk about this topic a little bit before we jump into questions. Not a long thing here, but this was an idea that we came up with a couple of weeks ago after we recorded the Black Phone episode. I guess one question really started the idea, but then it kind of evolved into talking about,
Other
if you had to
questions.
predict and wish for things for the immediate future of horror, the horror landscape, movies, books, TV, whatever you want to do, what would that look like? What are some things you want to see? What are some things you don't want to see? Predictions for what's going to succeed, what's going to fail? Lots of franchise talk. So it evolved into a bunch of questions. Otis is upstairs still screaming at the Amazon truck.
That guy's been
I
long
can
gone.
never hear him on the recording. So
I know,
don't
but
know if
That's
yeah,
good.
so at least nobody.
That's good.
But he's
Just
just
funny that
he's
he's
going
still yelling.
absolutely bananas, absolutely. But yeah, so I think this kind of through our conversation evolved into a lot of different topics that we're going to discuss tonight. I mean, did I miss anything there? Do you guys have anything you want to talk about before we jump
No, I
right
got
into
answers
questions?
to your questions.
I'm excited for this because this is one of the things when you guys brought me onto the show full time that I was really looking forward to doing. Like stuff like this, like these really in-depth conversations, and just I also like the drafts too. I love the countdown stuff.
Yeah.
But this kind of stuff, I really love diving deep into the idea of horror and what makes this cinema so fucking cool
Yeah.
and admirable by people like us. And I'm excited.
Versus
I'm ready.
just being like Siskel and Ebert every week.
Shitting on every fucking movie.
I couldn't have said that better myself, Matt. That's a great way of looking at it. But yeah, it's nice to do something different other than just like talking about one particular movie.
Yeah, we don't want to be just
We
a
have to talk
horror
ab-
movie podcast
because-
like Cat season.
Yeah, I know, right? Which
I'm gonna say that again when we do
don't-
too many movies in a row.
I don't know
It
what to
just
say.
goes right up his
But I
ass.
mean, like, yeah, I think it's safe to say that the four of us have pretty eclectic and different tastes for a lot of horror-related things. So we can't obviously all talk about things that we all like in any given episode if we're talking about one particular movie. I think this is going to give us a lot of opportunity to share a bunch of different ideas. Should be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
you can do that if you're me and you just rant and rave
Yeah.
about nonsense 90% of the
yeah.
time.
So I think the only ground rule for this that I thought of, and this is what I looked at going into it, was pretty much like just think of these questions in terms of like the next like 3 to 5 years of horror, like two to 4, 3 to 5, whatever you want to say.
I
Like
didn't know there were rules.
Yeah, take your ground
that's the only
rules
one.
and shove them
The
up
o-
your
the-
butt.
like the immediate future. So, first question that I had. Let's just jump right on in here. So this is kind of a fill in the blank one here, and you guys all were sent these questions beforehand. So
Yes.
I don't know
I
what
don't
we're
want to hear
doing.
about it. I don't want to hear about it. I know Matt's prepared.
See, what?
Right?
I actually just
Fuck
know
you,
what
Mike.
I
Yeah, fuck
don't
you,
have
Mike.
any notes written.
So I will start with Matt. We'll go to
You
Kat
have
and
your
Andrew and
phone
come
out.
back to me. We can end with me on all these.
I know.
So,
Same.
Matt, finish the following sentence. I would be disappointed if I don't see blank in the next few years.
All right, so if I don't see, and we kind of touched upon this earlier, like it was a brief mention, but Brandon Cronenberg start to kind of hit a stride. I want to see a couple more Ari Aster movies. I know he's working on one, which apparently is supposed to be like 4 hours long, or something ridiculous. I'd also like to see this transfer of what we have as mainstream now. And this is like kind of this whole, obviously like this Blumhouse thing. A24 is kind of like wiggling its way in. It's becoming more and more popular. I'm like a big sucker for A24, so I'm not really going to be like, well, they're just artsy fartsy. Like I like those kind of movies. But to see basically like, obviously me and Andrew can connect on this foreign movie thing where we enjoy the style of movie. If you can like get that vibe, even like with like Last Night in Soho, there was something that just wasn't like an American movie about it. And all it was in London. It was
Felt like a Giallo movie.
Right.
right, but like it just like it wasn't like it was in a different language or anything, but it was outside of this like box that I feel like American horror movies have been in for like the last like 9 years, where we're just like sucked into like The Conjuring and Insidious and Annabelle, and like basically Jason Blum is just like holding our fucking hands like right now.
Yeah, and
he's
I'm doing this hand. I'm taking a knife and stabbing it because I don't want your fucking dirty
and
hands.
it's
Get
like,
it out of my face.
I'm not
sick
gonna,
of those movies.
I won't even go as far to be like fuck him and fuck Blumhouse, because they're doing great things for horror because they're making it stay relevant and popular.
You got to give them an A for effort, because
For sure.
there's horror for everybody, and it may not be for the most hard.
And there's
horror.
horror for
making-
Cat.
Yep. Yes.
They're
Horror
making
for
those
sure.
movies, but those movies are making money, and they're getting the conversation started, and they're getting people excited just to go see scary movies. So because of that, I don't think you see the success of Hereditary or X or like any of these other A20 Midsummer, like because like without Blumhouse kind of like revving that engine, you don't get those
There's
movies
no
really
motor
getting
behind
what
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would
a
kind of
great
like to
point.
see this transfer of power like shift into this more like horror being taken. It's not that it hasn't been taken seriously, but taken seriously to the point that you're getting like it's like back in like the 60s and 70s where you had like Rosemary's Baby all of a sudden stars Mia Farrow and it's directed by Roman Polanski, and you're
Yeah.
like,
But
what the fuck?
I don't even
like,
need that.
or like seeing like Gregory Peck in The Omen,
Omen,
and
yeah,
Ellen
yeah.
Burstyn in The Exorcist. You're like getting these
Really.
invested situations going where you're getting
Capital
Oscar-worthy
actors. Yeah.
you're getting Oscar-worthy notions of horror. Like, I want horror to become a relevant Oscar topic.
But in fairness, I think that there are Oscar relevant actors and actresses that
I do
are
too.
in horror movies that get no recognition strictly for the fact because they're not in some stupid Marvel movie that no one gives a fuck about.
Yeah.
Well,
that's my problem with movies right now. It has nothing to do like A24 is doing a great job, Blumhouse is doing a great job.
Technically
they're trying
independent film group.
because they're all independent. But that's what's stupid is that
I'm trying to
90% of the
get
movies,
that.
90% of the movies that you don't see in theaters are so much better than the crap that they feed to you.
I know you hate the MCU for sure. Yeah,
But it's
you're-
not
you're-
even
you're
that.
right,
It's
though.
not
You're
even
right.
that. It's just the mainstream movies that they put out there.
It's always
like
been
the
that
fact
way,
that Black Phone, that's the best horror movie we're going to see. Fuck that movie. Can you give me something better? Because I know that you could have given something better if you
Yeah.
really looked. Because there's so much better out there.
I agree.
What a great point, Matt. Matt,
Thank
you nailed it.
You nailed it, and I'll piggyback off that, and I'll say like one of the minor. This wasn't. I had a few things written down for this question or this statement. One of the things I had like as a follow up thought was I will be disappointed if I don't see a horror movie nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars
Yeah.
at some point in the next 5 years.
Austin
I mean,
get
there
any?
have been
Get Out
nope,
did.
Get Out did, but
must have.
I'm talking about like I don't
Jordan
know. I
Peele
guess
won an Oscar
yeah,
for that.
Jordan Peele won an Oscar for
Best
that.
original screenplay.
Or you know, I'll go more bold. If a horror movie does not win an Oscar for Best Picture in the next 5 years, and you can
Oof,
say
that's a bold
maybe Parasite was kind of a horror movie, Get Out was nominated. There have been lots of performances and lots of movies, specifically from A24, the ones that I'm thinking of, that very well could have and very well should have been nominated for multiple Oscars. I'm
Toni
looking at
Collette won something.
The Witch. I'm looking at Hereditary. I'm looking at The
Not even
Lighthouse.
nominated.
No, she wasn't.
That's wild.
There is absolutely no way that Lupita Nyong'o should not have been nominated for her role in Us.
Oh,
She played two
that
roles.
was-
She was fantastic. She was great. I think that Anya Taylor-Joy could be nominated for something for Last Night in
Last Night in
Soho.
Soho.
But I think that actually that
Did she get nominated
win-
for something in Queen's Gambit, though?
That was a Golden Globe, I believe. But
Which
so
is-
yeah, that window might have already
Same
passed
level,
for Last
yeah.
Night in Soho. I'm not sure, but like I think that would be a huge step forward. Horror in popular culture right now is huge, but that would be like a big step forward in kind of taking that stigma away from the genre that it's only for certain types of people. Like the same way, I feel like in a lot of ways, horror movies and comic book movies are looked at in a similar sense. But there are obviously horror movies out there, the ones that you're talking about, Matt, that should be looked at in a different light, and they're not just cheap thrills and good times.
I mean, I don't know if they're looked at in a similar sense.
A lot of
There's
them are.
9 billion thousand people love comic book movies.
There's also 9 billion thousand people that love horror movies as
Then
well.
why is there no... Then what's the deal?
I feel like
Because
I
it's-
feel like
What's the
it's-
deal
you
with
have-
horror
you
movies?
have-
Academy
you have
critics.
No, but the problem is they
3
don't put
billion
them in the
movies to make a
theaters.
movie,
They
and
don't
you
put
have
them in the
2
theaters.
billion.
If you put those movies in theaters, more people would go and see them.
I think
Like,
you're right.
did Men do any good in theaters?
It
Not
didn't
really.
do, it
Yeah,
didn't
see,
do terrible, but
That's,
it didn't
but see,
do
that's the other
great.
thing too. Like, no, it's a real like niche
that
market.
movie's
That's what I'm.
not for everybody.
But that's what I'm also saying though is like,
But you have
Like-
Jessie Buckley, who's an Oscar-nominated actress
yeah,
in
but,
that movie.
But the
as main-
problem
the
is
lead.
that you're saying that comic book movies and horror movies are the same.
I'm not saying they're the same. I'm saying that a lot of
Yeah,
people look at them the same way.
Not,
well, it's
clearly
like this,
they don't.
It's a cult following.
It's not a cult following
It is a
because
cult
everybody will go see
Well, yeah, I
like a
guess
cult
you're right,
of
yeah.
8 billion people.
Yeah.
Because what did that last movie that just came out? It made like $28 million in like one night. The one that just
Doctor
came out.
Strange.
No, the literally
Thor?
the Thor one.
Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah.
$28 million on Thursday evening.
Okay. I'm not.
But you have, think
I'm
of
not
all like
saying
the
that-
little.
yeah.
Think of all the little
because
kids
you
that
can't
have to go
compare
and see
them.
these
They're not
movies.
even close.
Yeah.
It may be a niche. It may have been a niche market 20 years ago, but it's clearly now comic books are cool.
We're getting
Everyone's
off track.
watching.
We're
comic
getting
books.
We're
off
getting
track.
way off track. We're getting
Okay.
way off track. So yeah, all I meant was that more recognition for horror stuff at the Oscars. I think was my point there.
Yeah, and that's what I was
Nailed
trying
it.
to say. I'd like to see, like I said, you have these old movies. You go through these ebbs and flows of horror throughout history, where you have the first initial Universal horror guys, and Bela Lugosi, and fucking Lon Chaney Jr. and Boris Karloff, and then you get into your B movies and your sci-fi stuff, and then you come into the '60s with all your crazy shit, and your Herschel Gordon Lewis's and your extreme violence, and then you fucking get Roman Polanski directing Rosemary's Baby, arguably one of, if not the greatest horror movie ever fucking made. Alfred Hitchcock, Psycho, 1960. 2 bangers within a decade. Night of the Living Dead, fucking Romero. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then you skate into The Exorcist and The Omen, and you have these random movies that come out that are fucking phenomenal. And they are. Like, Silence of the Lambs is another one. You have even some of the
Seven.
shit that fucking... Seven. Even some of the stuff that Carpenter directed, I would say, is worth a fucking nod. The Thing is worth a nod,
1000%.
dude.
Why wouldn't
Stanley Kubrick Directed The Shining.
The Shining. Yeah. A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I would love to see horror come back into that thing where you get these maybe the Coen brothers take on a fucking horror picture.
Oh, that would be so awesome.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, Quentin Tarantino maybe.
Scorsese.
Yeah, like, just these...
Dude, Tarantino's always flirted with it and said he wants to do one, and he's never followed through on it. I hope he does.
I'm going to do it.
Dawn
I'm going to
Till
follow
Dusk?
anything he does anyway.
He didn't direct
Dusk
it.
Till
Robert
Dawn?
Rodriguez.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
But
he
wrote that
wrote
or
it
something?
and starred in it.
Well,
Yeah.
so that's a lot. If you help
But
write
like
something,
directing though.
but writing is more important than directing.
I guess.
Without the
story,
writing,
without
you don't have
story,
anything.
Without a story. Yeah,
Either
you're
way,
right.
I really hope that we can, even if it's only 1 or 2 movies, that we see like a really...
Oh, we will.
Just someone takes, and it's not like I'm gonna go make a scary movie. They're like, I'm gonna go make the best movie I can about something fucking horrifying.
That's scary as shit.
Yeah,
But didn't we get that with
that's
the
how you
Lighthouse,
get
though?
these good fucking movies. The Lighthouse was
You do,
but it
you
was
do,
that
you
one
do sometimes.
scary?
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
No, but it was.
It was
yeah,
wild
just
and
scary.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, that's all I think you get now. Those just bizarre movies.
So I think that's a great starting point. Did you have anything else that you had written down for that you want to talk about?
I didn't
before
write
I,
anything.
Okay,
It's all in his head. What are you, me?
Good for you. Kat, finish the following sentence. I would be disappointed if I don't see blank within the next few years.
I have 3 different things.
Okay.
2 are very short.
Go ahead. And you know what? Maybe for the sake of letting people finish their thoughts, we should let everybody finish their thoughts before we all comment
And
on
start
it.
shitting on Marvel.
Okay.
You're just talking to me.
No,
I feel
it's
like you're talking to me.
No,
Yeah,
we,
that's
we
what I
all
said
we
to
all
you.
talked
Yeah.
about this. We
In
listen.
true fairness, though, it was me.
Stop being so defensive. We all talked.
No,
about
I
it.
wasn't. I was
Yes.
saying it was me. I was admitting it.
I would be disappointed if I don't. I feel like I'm playing apples to apples.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With the nouns.
You like apples to
I know,
apples.
I do. I like it. So, I want to see Channel Zero come back somehow.
Oh, what a
I
great
would
call.
love for them to come back in the next like 3 to 5. Because didn't they get? I thought that someone. No.
Shudder, correct?
Sci-Fi Network,
No.
all the sci-fi stuff, I believe. So Channel Zero is actually streaming on Shudder.
Yeah.
But Sci-Fi Network is owned by NBC Universal, which is on Peacock,
Okay.
I believe.
I would also like more Stephen King spin-offs like Castle Rock.
Okay.
Like
that'd be
more
cool.
of those
Alright.
types of shows. Then my next big idea
My
is
next trick.
an immersive 3D haunted house experience with holograms and interactive elements, kind of like in Black Mirror where they put a chip in you
Mm-hmm.
and then you're like in your own kind of like virtual reality world
Mm-hmm.
that you can't really get out of.
It sounds horrifying.
I think that you can.
Demon person?
I feel like that could totally happen in the next 5 years.
I think,
mean,
that's
it
gonna
could.
happen. I think that's gonna happen whether we like it or not.
And I'm not
Yeah.
going on that
Yes,
ride.
Yeah.
I think that
No
would
one's
be
putting a chip in me for a
crazy.
ride.
Yeah. I think I want
Wow.
that to happen. Yeah.
Holy
that was
shit,
my
what a
wild
curveball.
card.
Maybe that's crazy because it is crazy.
Yeah, like
That's
a
kinda
real
fun.
Yeah.
I like
life
those
So like a
answers.
virtual
virtual
reality.
reality
Okay.
haunted house,
mean,
like without the
have
VR
Great
system,
thought.
like an actual
Does
like.
it have
Without the
so
VR
invasive,
system,
though?
so they
Yeah.
literally are putting a chip in your neck. Is that what you're
That
saying?
is
not
that
necessarily
is
in
the
your neck,
exact
but I
which
mean-
it's a great episode of Black Mirror. That is the exact plot of Playtest with
Yeah,
Wyatt
Yes.
Russell. It's a
And
great.
how does that
episode.
end?
Horribly, horribly.
Yeah.
But I
That's
think,
what I don't want to
Horribly.
do any of that. Cool
that would be
story.
cool.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I'd
Well,
love
I
that.
think it'd be upgrade.
Yeah.
It'd be an upgrade to like haunted.
I'd rather
regular
play
house.
Turtles in Time with Mike.
Or you could even just say, if like for Andrew's tastes, a virtual reality element incorporated to a haunted house without the chip, just like a headset or something like that.
Yes.
Well, no, I don't
chip.
want the headset. I want like a chip.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
you're committing fully to this.
Maybe
Event.
maybe
Kat is committing to becoming partially a robot for this haunted house.
magnets.
Magnets? Okay, Charlie Day. That's from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You just said
Like-
that.
when
Magnets?
Mac and Dennis
I mean,
are
I
making
feel
Charlie's
like-
dating profile,
Yeah.
and they ask him what his interests are, and he just says magnets.
Oh, I don't remember
What?
that.
What?
Yeah.
Like what? Like collecting magnets? Like playing with magnets? No,
Just
just
magnets.
magnets. Just magnets.
I feel like you could do it with magnets.
Yeah, you can do it with magnets. I guess so. All right. Did you
I
have
feel like
Did you have another one, or was
no,
that it?
that was it. That's it.
I
So,
think great call on Channel Zero and great call on what was the second
Castle
one?
Rock. more
Castle.
Rock.
Well, so I was going to say.
kind of Stephen King story.
So
series
they are
things.
doing. I don't. You probably hadn't heard about this, so I'm not taking points away.
That's
they
okay.
I think they are doing a prequel series to the It
points.
movies called Welcome to Derry. That
Oh,
is supposed
cool.
to be taking place like
Yes.
at various time periods in Derry while Pennywise was terrorizing the
The
town.
other times
Nice.
he was around. Yeah.
Right.
That's
So-
HBO Max too. That's
HBO
gonna be
Max.
fucking
I'm sure it'll
sick.
be great.
So my wish will come true. One of
Yes.
them.
Channel,
That's probably gonna be
Yeah.
the best one
Yeah.
you're gonna get.
Channel Zero is criminally underrated, and it like the fact that show has not been picked back up, and I can't
It's so
believe
sad.
just the fact that it got renewed for 4 seasons on Sci-Fi. That says something about how good the show actually was.
That was
Yeah.
awesome.
It was
The
great.
the newest Colors of the Dark episode has an interview with I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but Rebecca does an interview with the special effects guy that makes like the toothy guy.
Oh, from Candle Cove.
Yeah.
That's the first one.
That's
Oh,
the best one.
That's the best
Yeah.
one, I think, too.
He had a great interview. It was really interesting. He actually had some serious credits on his resume too. So
I love to
you'll
know
like
those.
it. They talk about Deep Rising.
Oh God, I love that
And
movie
he was
so
a big-
much.
he was the special effects guy for that.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah.
baby. Love me some Deep Rising. Kat, good stuff. We're off to a
Thank you.
great start here. All right, Andrew, I would be disappointed, or you would be disappointed, if you didn't see blank within the next few years.
A Mindhunter season 3.
Oh, what a great call! Oh, this
mean-
is this is an awesome episode already. Yes.
I mean, if you haven't seen Mindhunter, I don't know what you're doing. And why there isn't a 3rd season of Mindhunter, I know why. But still, can we just get it?
Why?
Yeah.
This like he's doing other shit. He doesn't want to do
David
this. It's
Fincher.
Fincher.
Fincher, yeah, he's
David Fincher, so he can do whatever he wants to do.
He's the best working actor
like-
today, I think.
when you
That's
say-
a director that could make a fucking Oscar-worthy horror movie.
He
sure.
could.
Yeah.
I mean, he
I mean,
already
you could argue
has.
Zodiac and Seven, probably.
I mean, those are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
yeah,
mean, like,
Mindhunters.
he
But
could
they,
win it.
they were talking about it slightly. So that's just a basic run-of-the-mill answer.
Yep.
I would also. It's never gonna happen. I would love to see a reunion, a Seinfeld reunion.
Oh my god.
That is, but it's a Halloween episode, and it's like in the vein of Clue.
Oh,
But
God.
you have like H.E. Pennypacker as Kramer, Cal Varnson as Jerry, Art Vandelay as Costanza, and then just Elaine's there, and then they're all getting knocked off. Well, because Elaine
Elaine's
doesn't
just
have,
there.
she doesn't have like a side.
An alter
Right.
ego.
She doesn't have an
She's just
alter
Elaine,
ego,
yeah.
so she's Elaine, so she's there, and they're all getting knocked off one by one, and you have to figure out if it's like
It was in the diner
is
with
it
the mug.
Slippery Pete or is it Babu or who's
my
who's
God.
killing all of them? Like, and it would
That's
just
really
be like
fucking
David-
I think
David
that would be-
Putty,
I think
Daniel,
that would be so
Newman.
good.
That's incredibly creative.
Never gonna
Newman
happen.
in the coffee shop with a knife.
Yeah, but like
Let's
it's
do
just
one.
like one large
Newman
episode.
in
What's
coffee
who
shop
makes
with a
what's the
letter
board
opener.
game company? You should fucking send them an email.
That is actually a
Milton
great
Bradley?
idea. That is a great
Seinfeld,
idea.
a
Seinfeld
Seinfeld version of
Seinfeld
Clue.
Clue?
It's a
Yeah.
it's a way that they could do it. If they'll never do it, but if
They're so
because
old
we're,
now,
okay,
though.
listen, we're dorky enough that we're purely into fan fiction right now. So if they ever were to do this episode, it'd be the most awesome thing ever. It's never gonna happen.
I would
but
love that.
it's So great.
If they wanted, I would help write it. I don't know what I'm gonna write. I'll say some weird
Okay.
shit.
All right.
Figure it out.
Awesome call.
That's all I got.
That's all you got.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay, I'll go last. I would be disappointed if I don't see a return to the world of Marty Hart and Rustin Cole in True Detective within the next few years. I think this is truly one of the biggest stories with the most untapped potential. I mean, it was such lightning in a bottle with season 1. I could see how people would be wary of it, and it very well may fail, because it's impossible to top season 1 of True Detective, which is the best season of television ever made, in my humble opinion.
Agreed.
They obviously were featured heavily in the first season, and then they were teased again in the third season. Very quickly, but the idea was there that all of this takes place in Andrew's favorite thing, a shared universe, right?
Always.
I'm all for the True Detective shared universe, okay? Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to happen because Nick Pizzolatto, who wrote the first 3 seasons of True Detective, was on record saying that he had a great idea for a 4th season that he wanted to do, and ultimately they decided to move the series forward, not involving him as the producer and writer, and now it's, I forget her name, it's somebody else. McConaughey and Woody Harrelson are still attached to this new season, which I believe is called True Detective Night Country. We talked about it on the show. They're still attached as executive producers, which obviously doesn't mean anything in terms of them acting in the show. So I think it's just a waste if you don't revisit those characters at some point, because True Detective is so fucking awesome. They were the reason that made the first one of the many reasons that the first season was so great, and to not go back to those characters, I think would just be such a huge missed opportunity. Ugh. All right. I would also be disappointed if I don't see a Killer Clowns from Outer Space sequel sometime within the next few years.
Isn't that already like working? Like,
apparently, it's been in development hell for a number of years.
Yeah.
The Chiodo brothers, however you pronounce their name, they've been wanting to do one forever. Nobody seems to want to push one forward. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space property has gotten a huge bump in popularity from being featured at haunted houses at Universal Studios, both coasts. Huge surge in popularity. It was on Netflix for a while. It was one of the most streamed horror movies on there. It's on HBO Max now. So I think people have a taste and an appetite for a sequel to Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
It's a great little film.
Great little film. Great little film. Awesome. Great little movie.
Great little flick.
Yep.
I'm curious. They must be getting a killing with their like Blu-ray and 4K turnovers.
Have to be. By the way, that Killer Clowns from Outer Space shirt that I bought, pretty dope, right?
Oh,
Thing
sure.
fucking rocks. I sent you a picture of it. You saw me that day.
Oh, yeah, I saw
Okay, let's see. I also, real quick, would be disappointed if I did not see more rebooted, and by rebooted I mean scary movies based on the Universal classic monsters. I'm thinking about, like, in the vein of Lee Whannell's The Invisible Man, which came out 2 years ago, was a fucking awesome movie. I want to see more movies based around Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Phantom of the Opera, Jekyll and Hyde. Those old school monsters, I think, are great characters. They should use them properly.
I see Jekyll and Hyde being a very, very
that's been
capable,
underutilized,
scary movie.
Yep.
Frankenstein, Dracula,
Frankenstein.
I feel like are just so. There's already this image that's burned into everybody's head.
Yeah.
That it's so difficult to reignite that kind of like fear.
Yeah.
But Jekyll and Hyde, I feel like, is kind of the one that kind of goes under the radar a little bit, and you can really. In my mind, you can make that a fucking terrifying movie.
Isn't Split basically that movie?
I guess you could also say the Nutty Professor is that fucking movie. So,
Yeah.
I'm just surprised,
Yeah.
Michael. I thought one of the things you would have wanted us to have seen in the next 5 years would be more
Worms.
Worm movies.
Yeah, more movies about worms. I almost wrote down.
Worms.
I almost wrote down that I wish they would actually produce the Tremors TV show pilot that they shot with Kevin Bacon
There you go,
years after.
There you go.
So but I didn't.
Wormology.
And then just to tie it back into one of the things I love most love talking about most on our show, which is haunted attractions. I would love to see more immersive local haunted attractions.
Isn't that one of our questions?
In the New England area? Just briefly, I have other stuff written down for that.
That's what I said.
Local stuff. Just local stuff. I would and cat.
Very
that's
immersive.
Why. Yep, very immersive. Yeah.
Immersive.
So that's what I got.
I love to immerse.
Are we ready for question 2?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Matt, this one's to you. Fill in the following blanks, I should say. I will be happy if I don't see blank, or if blank goes the fuck away.
All right, so this is going to be controversial. I'd love to go even if it's only for the next 5 years, if we just go with 0 remakes or reboot. I'm not the Halloween reboot thing with David Gordon Green and Danny McBride is it's cool, but there's this weird, I don't know if it's just like a fucking tick in my brain that just makes me not like it, but there's I don't like change. So having this original series, even if it's just the first one, and then because it's the whole Halloween fucking series is so fucked up anyway. But having now I'm hearing that they're gonna do the fucking Exorcist.
Same guy like David Gordon.
It is, yeah. And I'm all right, but remember when the Texas Chainsaw movie came out this year?
Yeah.
You just watched it recently.
So
fucking garbage, right?
Yes,
yeah.
absolute garbage.
So you and I have the same thing here. So
Yeah.
So
I'll
it's
jump in with you. Yep.
It's and for me, my favorite horror movie of all time is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original one.
Amen.
And I also, but at the same time, I don't hate the Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Right.
because it's such a fun horror movie to watch. But I just
chop,
kind of wish it just had a different fucking name.
Yeah.
I just wish it was called Radio Show Mineshaft Massacre.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
something
To
totally
differentiate-
you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yep.
In the same way that I wish that it's Halloween 3 should have just been called Season of the Witch.
Yep.
And so I'm kind of done with, and it's just The Exorcist is such a standalone film for me as well, because Exorcist 2 fucking sucks. Exorcist 3 really doesn't matter. That could just be its own fucking movie. It could just be called Legion after the book that it's written, directed after. And it could just kind of like live in that same universe. Which the Ninth Configuration also kind of does, I guess. But that's also a William Peter Black book. Anyway, but like I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, and I know I touched on this before with like the A24, the originality, and like that's why I really enjoy A24 because they're kind of going out of their element. It's like you're just getting these like bizarre, ultra violent, realistic, emotional horror movies, but I like that. But it's just you can't just take the same guy in a mask and just keep fucking killing people over and over again. They want to do it with fucking. Now they're trying to like people are trying to get the rights from Paramount to Friday the 13th so hard, and it's just like, dude, just like
because they know they know
like,
people are gonna watch it.
Yeah,
exactly, and that's all it is. But that's why I'm like, that's what's deterring my first answer from this. Like, it's like creating this fucking bridge from getting these good horror movies. So it's like they want to do Nightmare on Elm Street. That like even like with Scream, I'm like I didn't hate the one that just came out, but then they're like, all right, now Scream 6, and I'm like, ugh, like Jesus Christ, like just let it. Like that would have been a great ending, and you just call it a day.
Yeah,
make something new.
No,
so I would love to
know they're gonna make money off of it.
Right.
I'd love to just see the whole reboot and requel thing just fucking die.
Yeah.
It's exactly what I had. I will be happy if I don't see legacy sequels or legacy sequels watering down and ruining important characters. Because I'm thinking specifically of the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which we just talked about, and then also, sorry, I wanted to ask you too if this was your admission that Halloween Kills fucking smelled and stunk out loud.
It wasn't great. I didn't hate it, but I liked the first one to it, like the regular Halloween that came out.
I did too. See, I liked the first one. Halloween Kills did nothing.
It was just
for me.
weird. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And like bringing back all these characters, it was just like.
But then you also get on the opposite side of the spectrum in terms of legacy sequels. You get a talented filmmaker like Mike Flanagan that makes a sequel to The Shining that's fucking awesome.
But Stephen King already wrote that as
That's
well.
true. That's also true.
So he had plenty to go off of. And Stephen King wrote the shit out of that book.
He did. I did. I haven't read it. I'm sorry, so I can't comment.
Dude,
I know
it's
you
great.
have. I got to go back and
very
check
good.
that one out.
It's frightening. Yeah.
All right. Well, good. Great minds think alike. Pound it.
Sure.
Catherine.
Yes.
I would be happy if I didn't see blank or blank goes the fuck away in the next few years.
So as Matt Audette said, Let It Die. I would be happy if I don't see The Walking Dead or any spin-off shows or games or anything else from The Walking Dead ever again.
Great
I am
call.
all
I've been on that
set.
train for like 10 years, dude.
If I see one more game or spin-off show or whatever, Daryl, Carol, whatever, I'm done. Like, it's over.
Well,
like,
we've been done. It's just it's insane.
It's the fact that there's still spin-off shows and there's still games and all that other shit. I'm all set.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it anymore.
Okay.
It's over.
Fair enough.
I'm done.
I'm with you 1,000%. These are all great answers so far. Everyone did a really good job researching and thinking about this. Anything else? Is that the one?
Just end The Walking Dead.
Okay.
It should die.
I would argue it is already. It's almost dead, and they're keeping it on life support. But,
Yeah, it is.
Whatever.
It went too many seasons, and the spin-offs suck. And
The epitome of a show that used to be great and has been watered down to the point of just nothingness.
It's embarrassing.
Nothing.
They should be embarrassed.
Yeah. Andrew, I would be happy if I don't see blank or if blank goes the fuck away in the next few years.
It's going to be a real simple answer. There's no need to elaborate on it. I will be very happy if I never see another Blumhouse or Hulu movie ever again. Because I can't stand any of those fucking movies. I'm good. Done. That's all I have to say.
Well, I think you're unfortunately going to be disappointed there, but...
But I don't have to watch them.
It's true.
I can just
That's correct.
ignore the fact that they exist. So this is a fact. I'm never watching any more of those.
Okay, fair enough. All right, next question. And that question is, Matt, the horror movie that you would most like to see remade in the next few years.
We just talked about how you didn't want to.
I don't want to.
And now we're doing a remake.
That's correct. So
all right.
why don't
So
we
if you
just...
had
If
to.
you had to
Well,
pick
no-
one.
If I had to pick one movie that I would have remade that hasn't been remade yet,
Right, yeah.
that would be kind of a deep cut. I'm gonna try to think of something that's a little deep.
Do you want me to go? I have
Yeah,
two.
why don't
Come
you
back
go?
to
Let
you.
me. Yeah, why don't you come back to me?
Okay,
Kat, who is it?
all right.
What is it?
I have two. So you know how they've been doing those 90s movies like Jumanji, Pocus, or Bring It Back?
Those aren't horror movies. but
No,
okay.
I'm just saying they're remaking 90s movies. They're gearing towards people our age.
Yes.
I think there's two. Return to Oz
Ooh.
which would be
That's a horror movie.
great.
Okay.
Which is underrated, but you have to see. You haven't seen it,
I've
right?
seen it.
Creepy as
I've
shit.
Seen it. I've seen
Yes.
it.
It's very, very creepy.
And in a Tim Burton-y style, maybe the Brave Little Toaster. Since we
Whoa,
just talked
okay.
about it.
Brave Little
Holy
Toaster
Yes.
is a horror movie.
Yeah.
So I don't care what anyone has to say
Right?
about that.
So a live
Banger
action,
of an answer.
Yeah.
a live action Tim Burton. If I
Or like a
No.
claymation.
Brave Little Toaster.
You can't do a live action.
No, no.
Claymation,
Yeah.
not
Stop
not
motion.
animated.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like,
Jesus Christ, you guys are
is
all...
John Lovitz gonna be in it again?
John Lovitz or Leavitz?
Is he?
He's
in
the
it?
radio.
Yeah, he's the
Oh, he
radio.
did? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Then yes.
Going back deep to left field. Like,
Yes.
Well,
that's the
one
best
thing I know
character
is
in
that
the
Phil
whole
Hartman
movie.
will not return for the sequel.
Well,
or
yeah.
the new one.
He's
That's
not
great.
the
R.I.P.
lamp.
He's the air conditioner, I
Air-
thought, isn't he?
I thought he was the lamp.
He might have been both.
Yeah.
Might
So
have been
I'd
both.
say Brave Little Toaster and Returns. That'd be
Good
cool.
answer.
You leave out Blanky.
No,
Blanky's the
I
worst.
love Blanky.
Blanky sucks.
Blanky
No.
needs to be
Blanky
thrown.
sucks so hard.
I'll
Blanky
be
should've done.
Blanky.
Yeah,
in
you-
The
the
electric
remake.
blanket.
You
is the
would
worst.
be Blanky.
Yes. Smash.
he just
All right.
cries.
Good stuff, though. Those were your two.
Wow,
Those are
that's a
my
good
two.
answer.
Alrighty, excellent.
Man. How do I
Andrew, the
follow
horror
up with
movie
that?
you would
Sorry.
most like to see remade in the next few years.
So, there's a certain underrated Clive Barker movie from the early 90s
No, we
called
gotta say.
Nightbreed
Mm-hmm.
that just, they didn't get it right. Cronenberg's in that movie.
Yep.
He played a great role as the psychopathic psychiatrist that convinced the guy that he's a serial killer. There's so much good in that movie. There's so many monsters. You also have the other element of the psychopath psychiatrist that, like, this movie, it just reeks of a remake. And with everything going Clive Barker's way right now, this movie definitely needs to be and this movie would do so well.
Okay.
That's, I mean,
I had a feeling you were going to pick Nightbreed, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a perfect...
have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen
Oh,
Nightbreed.
okay.
Yeah, not for a long time, but I have seen it before. Yeah. Matt, do you have yours? Not yet? Still thinking about it? Okay. So, one thing that I would like to see remade, I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and I'm still back and forth. Man, this is really tough. I am going to say, I don't know.
Thinner.
You don't know?
I mean, I would love that.
This is the one question that I did not write down an
How
answer
about
for.
Jaws?
That I would
No.
never,
No.
ever
No,
want to
no,
see
no.
Jaws
Tremors?
remade. Ever in my life.
No,
That's
you
the
don't-
thing. I'm trying to think of these like kind of like deep cut.
It's gotta be
movies.
deep cut.
Yeah.
Tremors,
Butcher
I would not
Baker
want to see
Nightmare, man.
remade. I guess if I had to like pick something, I mean, shit. I think. So, I mean,
You didn't write anything down?
I
You
just,
Isn't it so
Yeah,
hard?
no,
this
to
is the
Yeah.
one. This is the
Yeah.
one question
You
that
just
I.
ad-lib this one?
Can
This is
I?
a
Can I?
wild
can I
one to
explain
ad-lib.
myself or what?
No.
No splaining for you.
Okay, this is the one category that I had a tough time thinking of an answer because I don't necessarily want anything to be bastardized.
Well,
but
then let's just skip it.
we can come back to us.
We
if
can
you
So
come
a
back.
bad movie.
Yeah,
I'll keep
I'm
thinking.
kind of on
I'll
the
keep
same
thinking.
page as you. I'm like, maybe we
Okay.
You
should
can't think of
come
a
back.
bad movie that you like that should be remade?
And I just realized I was looking at the wrong thing, and I do have I do have an answer for this. I was looking at the
What is
wrong
it?
answer to a wrong question. So my
When your
answer
notes take over.
is too many notes.
When the host isn't paying attention.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much.
I can say that to
Yes,
you.
there you go. It must be nice to say it once.
It's so
yeah,
nice.
That's good. So my answer is Silver Bullet,
Oh.
Stephen King movie, which is based on Stephen King's book Cycle of the Werewolf, which is essentially a long short story with illustrations. Don't get me wrong, I love the original one. I think this would still be ripe for a remake. I love me some Gary Busey and Corey Haim in a wheelchair. Uncle Gary Busey just lighting off fireworks and killing werewolves. It's an awesome story, and I would be all for, like, you want to remake it, keep the horror comedy tone, amp up the scare factor, do some better werewolf effects for 2022, 2023, whenever you want to remake it. And I even think, bonus points, this might make a great limited series or one season of television because the whole book is essentially broken down to 12
Picture
chapters
book. Yeah.
where each chapter is 1 month of 1 year where this town is being terrorized by a werewolf. So Silver Bullet, Cycle of the Werewolf, whatever you want to call it, that would be my answer. Yeah. Still thinking?
I got you.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you. How about? See, I've always liked this movie. It kind of got some flack, but it's a Toby Hooper movie, The Fun House.
Okay.
Kind of take it into like make it a little dirtier. It's a carnival movie, and you look at carnivals now, and they're fucking gross. But you keep this weird little freakazoid baby monster that lives there.
That's freaking
Yeah.
Seems
so-
like there's an idea to be had there.
I think
There
that's
is.
a
That
good
is,
idea.
yeah.
Fun.
On
Okay.
the spot, that's gonna be my
I like that.
go-to
I
B
think that's a
movie.
good.
That
Yeah,
that
because
can
that's the type of movie
slither
it's got to be.
in. Yeah.
You're not remaking a classic.
No.
So I should bring up at this point that we did reach out to a few people that have been on our show before. that have contributed to our show before, and
All
we did
our
ask some of
friends.
them.
A couple of our friends.
What?
I'm just singing the Neon Tree song.
So we reached out to a
okay.
couple of people that have been
friends.
a couple of people that have been on the
Stay
podcast
up past
before.
midnight.
See if they wanted to contribute any answers to some of these questions, and we did get some responses back. We did get an answer. Jesus Christ. From our good friend Matt Gilbert, who is, you may remember from such episodes as the discussion on the extraterrestrial alien encounter at Walt Disney World. And then also, I believe it was Hereditary.
Yep, he was on
Hereditary.
Hereditary, too.
Maybe one more, but I forget.
Disney
The Dark
horror
Side of
movie?
Disney.
Dark Side of Disney. We had him on for that one as well. So yeah, Matt Gilbert is an awesome contributor to the show.
Matty G.
Matty G. He did mention specifically his pick would be Nosferatu, which I think is a great movie that could be redone with something new in 2022. And there was at one point a remake in development that was supposed to be directed by Robert Eggers. That
Didn't
supposedly
Werner
is now
Herzog do a remake of
development.
that movie?
Can I change my
In
answer?
79.
Can I change my...
So that's a remake, but that's
So,
like
yes.
50 years old.
Nosferatu from Matty G.
I didn't even think
Sorry,
about
go
all the old movies.
Matty A.
I would love to see a remake of White Zombie, the Bela Lugosi movie with the
Ooh.
like voodoo zombies. It doesn't really play well today because they have to credit the way they used to do movies back in the day. They didn't have African American actors. They had to do blackface. Shitty, but
Yeah.
other than that, obviously they would accommodate.
Shake.
But the movie itself, the story is fucking solid. Voodoo zombies, dude. I think that would be my pick.
Okay.
What year did that come out?
92.
That's my old.
Yeah.
Can I change my pick?
Jesus, yeah.
The abominable Dr. Fives.
Yeah. I don't know
That
why
would
I
be
didn't
so
even
good.
think
Like,
to like go
That would
back
be like
to
that's
like
the movies to
classic
do.
movies.
If you're gonna
Cabinet
redo a
of
movie,
Dr. Caligari would be right for a remake too.
Yeah.
And also, somebody needs to make a good Island of Dr. Moreau movie. Shout out to your maniac.
dude, I actually kind of like the Bill Cameron. It's
Marlon Brando.
All right.
Yeah, it was so good. The potato
All right,
head guy.
so-
Potato Head.
I know you just gave your answer, Matt. So why don't we start with Kat on this next one here?
Oh, I get to start the new rotation?
You can start. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, we'll let you talk for a little bit.
Just pull on your hair. the whole
Kat,
time.
the franchise that you want most to die.
The Conjuring.
I had the same thing.
Dead.
for
Die.
three?
Let it
Three out of
die.
four?
Does that include like the entire like universe?
Yeah,
Yes.
Like,
Oh, did you all three? have the same one?
I'm thinking.
Spin-off. I'm all
I was
set.
thinking more specifically the original core movies, but let's be honest, none of the
You don't
sequels,
need
none of the
any
spin-offs
more.
have
I don't need to
really
see
been
I
great.
don't need to see
I'm
the
all
whole
The
set.
only
no.
the only good one recently that's come out has been Annabelle Comes Home, which I thought was okay.
I'm
Conjuring
just sick
3
of 'em.
sucked.
Yeah, the last, the Devil Made Me Do It was the
Yep.
last one that came out, and it was
Trash.
awful. And like they're just getting worse and worse, and then the Nun, and then the Annabelle, and then this, and it's just
Oh,
like
the Nun
enough.
sucked. Oh boy, did
Enough.
the Nun suck.
Well, and you had high hopes for it. I felt like even going into the first Conjuring, I was like disappointed because I
Yeah.
feel like there was so much hype about it, and then I came out of the movie theater and I was like, okay, like it was good, but I thought it was gonna be like epic, and I
Yeah.
didn't feel that it was that great.
My pants were dry.
Yeah. It's disappointing too because I do think that James Wan is one of the most important people working in horror today.
For sure.
Absolutely.
I think that, and you know,
Malignant
he's,
was fantastic.
Malignant.
I really liked
That was
Malignant
one of my
yeah.
favorite movies in the last 10
That
years.
was the best thing that he's done since watching the original Saw for the
Yeah.
first time.
For sure.
Malignant was fucking awesome. But I like to support him because he's been such a huge influence on horror throughout the 2010s, throughout today. Like I feel like every
That's what I was saying earlier.
Salem's
Yeah.
Lot, he's either executive producing or producing the Salem's Lot remake. So you see his name attached to something, it means something for me. Like I have high hopes for something that James Wan is attached to.
Yeah.
So
Understandable.
So
yeah,
bye,
and it's just
Conjuring.
the fact, and you know, it goes to show the more movies you make, the original creator of said movie and said franchise gets less and less involved, and the quality just gets diluted and diluted and diluted. And I
Yeah.
think that has been the case with the Conjuring movies. Like James Wan, Conjuring Devil Made Me Do It, or Conjuring 3 was the first one that he did not direct himself. It shows. That movie sucks. Movie sucks so bad. I hated it at the time.
There's only 3
Hate
of
it
those,
now.
though, right?
It wasn't even that it was like the story was dumb. It was just like even down to like the way like the shots were pretty. It's just everything looked stupid.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this movie sucks.
Yeah, and Annabelle Comes Home is essentially the Conjuring 4 because the Warrens are in it a lot. It's better than Conjuring 3, I think, by far. It came out before Conjuring 3, but it's like it should have been the Conjuring 3.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. It's essentially like kind of like Jumanji, but for horror. Really cool. Cool idea. So, yeah, I had The Conjuring too. Did you have something different?
Nope.
Yeah, I had Scream, Paranormal Activity, and any Saw movie that's ever come out.
Oh,
All
I
set.
knew that you were gonna do. All
Wait.
those.
When did you do a pivot on Spiral from the Book of Saw? I thought you liked Spiral with Chris Rock.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not called Saw, and I'm good with any Saw movies other than that. Like,
But that's like the same thing.
It's the same.
it is the same thing. But that movie was good. We don't need it anymore. Good job. You finished it. Can we end it? There's
I
been
don't
how
know.
many?
Okay.
12?
Yeah.
That's why I said Scream, Paranormal Activity. How many of those movies are there?
I mean, has there been a
I don't even know.
Paranormal
I lost
Activity
track.
movie lately?
Yeah,
I
think
really,
so.
I
I
actually
think there
enjoyed
has
the
been.
first one.
I love the first movie.
Yeah, the
That
first
movie
one, but
scared
there's
the
like
shit out of me.
11
Me
of
too.
those
It
movies
creeped me
now.
out.
I
Yep.
think there was one that just came out.
Okay.
Probably just on Netflix or some stupid shit.
All right.
Saw and Scream, no thank.
Okay. I don't hate those answers. I'm sorry. But yeah, Conjuring took the one spot for me. All right, Matt, back to you. The horror franchise you'd like to most see, or a horror movie or horror franchise that you'd like to see get a TV series adaptation.
American Werewolf in London.
Interesting
Ooh.
answer.
Yeah. I think that there's so much content you can really dive in on. The movie's fantastic. This is like a big favorite of mine. For many reasons, it's a horror comedy. I think you can kind of touch on that. You get a love story. You get the friend dynamic of Jack, who keeps coming back more decayed every single time.
Yep.
You have the investigation. You have the what do you call it? The curse fucking story. Him trying to figure out like how to not be a werewolf. This, that, and the other thing.
Yep.
And then the hunt for the actual beast. I think you could stretch that out and be a series.
Oh, for sure.
Do I want to see it happen? Realistically, and be rebooted as a TV series? No, but I think it would make a good
It could,
TV series.
Certainly could.
So
Okay.
that'll be my pick.
American Werewolf in London. Off the board.
I
Cat.
had an answer, but I think I mentioned. So
No one knew that.
I
so you could've just said
originally said Wrong Turn.
The most recent movie was good.
Well, because it's based on we saw the reboot recently,
Mm-hmm.
which I actually really liked.
That was a really underrated movie.
It was a really underrated
Yeah.
movie.
I
I think
see
that would
that
be a
one.
cool TV series, and especially because it already has a series kind of already, like the original. There was like 7
The original movie
movies.
series. Yep.
But I think something more entertaining would be if they did Living with Jigsaw TV series.
like the YouTube videos.
Yes.
that would be pretty. That's like a.
That would be
Yeah,
as a TV
what we
Like
do in the
series.
what we do in the
Shadows,
shadows,
style.
but with Jigsaw. That actually is
I
a
would
great
watch
idea.
that.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be a
I would
great
watch the
TV
fuck out of that.
series. I would love that. I can't get enough of them. I watch those movies, the ones on YouTube, a million times.
I know.
It's like
Where
working
he's like
with Jigsaw.
switching his roommates
Yes,
like
yeah.
food around and
He's
shit.
like-
yeah.
He's like, yeah, like you're.
The wine in your glass has been refilled with the blood of a three-toed sloth.
Yeah. he's like, your keys have been fed to your dog. Will you be late for work for the 4th time this week, or will you kill your bingo or
Will
something?
you, Jerry? Will you kill your best friend, or will you be late to work for the 3rd time in 4 days?
That's so good.
So
Like,
goddamn.
that would be amazing.
That would
Make
be,
a
I would,
TV
I would
series.
watch that. That
Oh, it
sounds
would
that
be
sounds like a
awesome.
Hulu show if I've ever heard of one.
Yeah.
Janine, I'm very sorry. Can you please hold? What? I love what like the puppet
It is-
work. He throws his
Yeah.
arms over. Your computer's been infected with a pornographic virus. You must close all 8,324 windows in the next 30 seconds before the hot IT guy comes over.
Yeah.
So goddamn good.
Like he's like, oh, the floor's covered in razor blades. You see like all Vicks like on the floor, and then he's like stuffed the
It's like
toilet
9
with
of
socks.
them. Yeah.
Man, I mean,
It's like-
if somebody listening has no idea what we're talking about, they're so lost. But that is honestly might be the best idea you've
Can
ever
you give
come
a
up
link?
with.
Can you give a
on the
link
show.
for that?
It's on YouTube. Just YouTube.
We'll put it in the show
Living
description.
with Jigsaw.
Yeah, I'll put it
or
in the show.
working
Living
with
with
Jigsaw.
Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Living or
Okay.
working with Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Both
If that
of
was
them.
a TV series, I would watch every episode.
It'd be a good skit show.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh,
Really good sketch
absolutely.
comedy,
So
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the vein of what we do in the shadows, that would absolutely succeed.
Yeah.
1,000%. Andrew, horror franchise or horror movie you'd most like to see get made into a TV series?
So I have like an A1, AB, and then I have another one.
An
But it would
A1,
either be,
AB?
Hellraiser, I think would be fantastic.
I agree. That's a good
Or
one.
Phantasm, because
Just so that I
There's
can roll
no.
my eyes.
I don't know why we laugh when we
No,
say.
you're right.
No one laughs when you say Hellraiser.
Because you pick-
No one laughs when you say Nightmare on Elm Street or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But oh, God forbid you say Phantasm, like it's some shit movie. Fuck you guys. That movie fucking slaps.
I love Phantasm.
I don't want
You
anyone
pick-
to fucking say.
You pick Phantasm
Yeah,
for everything.
as I should. That movie fucking is awesome, and there's
Angus
like 8 sequels
Scrim.
to it.
Angus Scrimp, baby, the tall
Rest
man.
in peace.
It's funny. I do think both of those would make for good TV shows.
Awesome
I really
TV
do.
shows.
They could. Those stories could be stretched out. There's a lot of lore to be explored for both of them.
The other TV show I think that would do really well, I don't know if it's horror related. I've actually read like 2 books in my life, or 4. 2 of those books one was The Gunslinger. The second book was the second book of The Gunslinger, like
Oh, dude, the Dark
anthology
Tower
of
would
The
be
Dark
fantastic.
Tower.
That'd be a great
It'd
TV
be
show,
so good.
yeah.
They fucking
Yeah.
butchered that with that stupid movie with Matthew McConaughey and that other idiot.
They were-
Stephen King
Yeah.
fans far and wide believe that the Dark Tower should be turned into a multi-season
It would be like a
series.
Lord of the Rings, like just
Yeah.
epic story. And why
Sarah's
has-
read that series like 3 times.
Yeah, why has a
loved it.
monstrosities
Yeah.
and all those things? Like,
Yeah.
can we get it together?
It'd be way easier to do from a storytelling perspective as a TV show than it would.
Dude, I just don't
You
think
can't do
anyone...
that as a
can't.
movie. You
Can't.
can't.
No one
That's why-
has
that's
the balls
why-
to take it
Yeah,
on.
They're all
that's
just
why
scared. Yeah.
it was pretty tough to adapt for a long time. You know, I mean,
You've read the book, right?
yes,
Right,
I have. Yeah, yep. Okay, so horror franchise, a horror movie. I'd most like to see get a TV series adaptation. I had 2. My first one, my 1A, is just an ultimate Mike pick, and I think it's just anthology stories in general
Alien.
are ripe, obviously, for new stories to be told, with one through thread idea, whatever you want to say.
Godzilla.
The VHS movies.
Oh,
All anthology movies. I think you could make a unbelievable TV series out of the VHS concept, where everything is found footage, 90s style VHS, grainy, video quality. I think that could be a great idea for a TV series. And obviously, they could all be set in the 90s, because I feel like that's the new 80s thing. A lot of stuff's being set in the 90s.
Yeah, that's because we're all old now, and that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what's happening. So, yep, there's plenty of nostalgia for the 90s at this point, so that could easily do very, very well.
I would like that.
I also thought The Void would make for a good TV series. You could focus on the town where the cult was operating. You could focus on the doctor that discovered that alternate dimension.
Isn't this just
Show
Stranger
more. I mean, it's very similar to Stranger Things, yeah.
Yeah.
But that was why I had it as my
You said
my second one.
franchise, though. Horror franchise.
It said franchise or movie. Franchise.
We
or movie.
added
Oh, you know
movie.
what? I was like, I got
added
like a
movie.
drop
He
in my
added-
stomach.
yeah,
I was
he
like, oh, I
did.
just picked the movie.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He did. That
I
was
didn't
an
mean
out.
I didn't mean for it to be like that
It
hard.
was not in the outline.
I also thought I also had the Monster Squad. I think the Monster Squad could make for a banging TV series, which would be a lot like Stranger Things, but I think you could do something different.
Yeah, a
with
little
that,
more
make it-
family friendly.
or maybe even more horror focused than Stranger Things, which is tough to do after season.
I mean,
yeah.
let's be.
Okay. All right, so we got another question here to get to, but before that, why don't we pause for a quick word from our sponsors?
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new Black Hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's American Horror Theme Park. Spooky World.
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula.
Biffle, here's the super sweet new cereal, Frankenberry.
But I've got chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor.
Well, I've got berry-flavored sweeties for monster strawberry flavor.
Count Chocula.
Frankenberry.
Hi.
Frankenberry.
Count Chocula.
Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's a killer this year. Then be next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
And we're back. All right, next question. We're rolling along here. We got a few more left. But why don't we start with you, Matt? And I feel like we're going to have some more overlapping answers. This is kind of a tough one. Who will be the next big horror director? In the vein of Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, Jordan Peele, whoever else would consider in the class of those three. The next big horror director.
Well, definitely all three of those are considerable names. I am very much in favor of Ari Aster. I know I mentioned his short film earlier, and apparently that one that I had mentioned is something he turned in college for like a film class, like final or something, which is insane when you watch it. You're like, wow, what a fucking what a maniac. But I do love Hereditary. I do love Midsommar. I love all the short films I've seen by him, and I really hope to watch him continue to make, whether they're even considered horror movies, but just well-done movies. But I do think he's going to stick with horror for sure. Jordan Peele seems to really be on track with horror. Granted, he is attached to Blumhouse, but he might, and I wouldn't be surprised if down the road he kind of spawns his own little company.
Jordan Peele is my pick. Absolutely.
Oh well, he
I
has,
misinterpreted
he
this
has
question.
Monkey
then.
Paw.
That is?
Monkey
Oh,
Paw's
no
his
shit.
company.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So
Yep.
he's already on the way.
Really fucked up this question.
That's okay. If we don't have answers for it, we can all just roll
But
through it
with
quick.
Key
That's
and
okay.
Peele, you go back and you see all the skits that they do. There's a handful of them that are heavily horror influenced.
I'll have to go back into that.
There's a good handful of them, like seriously, and they're good. They're funny, but they're fucking creepy.
Also on Paramount Plus, I believe, because Paramount Plus has all
They
Comedy
own
Central
Viacom,
shit.
yeah.
Okay.
So those two alone for sure. Robert Eggers, I'm like hit or miss with because I really like The Witch. I didn't really give a shit about The Lighthouse. I don't think it was a bad movie, but it was just like
That's fine.
It was like whatever. Like
I love that movie. No, that's fine. I mean, I'm just getting punched in the dick often. So
well, it was just like it wasn't like I said. It wasn't bad. It was a good movie. Like it was very well done. But it's just like a horror wise. I was like,
no, it lacked.
I didn't see The Northman, but I'm curious as to how he'll scale that back. I do have Brandon Cronenberg on my list for this because
I had him too. Yeah.
I know he really came in strong with the Possessor, and then I really enjoyed Saint Maud. So this is, I want to say her name is Rose Glass. I just want to confirm that real quick.
I haven't seen that.
It
movie.
is Rose Glass.
He directed that.
Huh?
Or was Cronenberg? Was he in? Oh!
Rose Glass
okay.
is. This was her first film. Was Saint Maud.
Did he write it?
Huh? No.
No,
Rose Glass. This is her own movie.
I was
a completely different person.
I was confused for a second.
And this was her first like big film. She had a short film that was kind of like around this idea. So I would like to see what else she has. But honestly, if I really had to be like, who's gonna be that fucking guy? It's going to be Ari Aster. It's going to be Jordan. In my opinion, those are the top two heavy hitters that are like just consistently producing top tier content. I know you guys didn't really like Midsommar, but you can't even like whether or not you thought like it was good. You can't say it wasn't like a poorly made movie.
Here's the way I look at it: is Hereditary phenomenal. Not every director is going to have a banger after it. Yeah. And so whether I like Midsommar, he still had Hereditary.
Yeah.
So you're batting 50%.
Yeah.
So you're still a phenomenal horror.
But do you look at, like, when you, with just not liking Midsommar, do you look at that and say that's a poorly made movie?
Absolutely.
No, I think it was beautifully done. I think it was just a boringly written. Like, did he write that movie?
Yeah.
Well, he
was supposed to be a little longer.
Well, yeah,
too.
you can't. You're not gonna reach everybody.
Yeah,
the point is though that you have the balls to write and direct it, and Hereditary shows his chops.
Yeah,
he nailed that movie. Whether or not I like Midsommar,
see, I just
it's
love
irrelevant.
That, like,
you already made
one.
If I like one out of these two movies, you're doing really good as a horror director because that's more than you get from most.
For me, with him, it's like, especially if you go and watch his short films. Watch The Strange Thing About the Johnsons and watch Munchausen. It's very, very rough, and it's made to be like a live-action Pixar.
Interesting.
Cool.
It's
what is
not cool. It's like, dude, it's called Munchausen.
Live action Pixar.
And then there's another one that's called something like Beau is Afraid of Something, but that is supposed to be the basis of this new movie that's coming out called, I want to say it's like something Boulevard.
Okay. All right.
With Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay. Yes. Disappointment Boulevard. Is that what it is?
Boulevard.
Yep. I've heard.
Right,
Yep.
yeah.
I know I've mentioned that before the show. As the
I
next
think it's Joaquin
Ari
Phoenix,
Aster.
right?
I
Or am
believe
I
he is. Yep,
confusing-
he is.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's got Joaquin Phoenix in it, he's doing pretty good.
Well, hey, this
Joaquin.
movie's supposed to be
Joaquin.
fucking like 3 hours long.
Okay. Fair
I'm
enough.
fine with that.
Ooh.
I watch
Like,
Cat's like,
15 hours of Stranger Things.
That's
I can
true.
watch a 3-hour movie. Let's
Cat,
be real.
did you have anything down for the next big horror director?
I had Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele.
Because
Okay.
he's already directed 2 banger movie directed and coming
Yeah,
out.
I have high hopes for Nope. Yeah, I feel like he's going to be a pretty popular answer
Yeah,
here.
I like him. I like his style. I like everything about. I
Yeah,
look
I mean,
forward
Get
to
Out,
his movies.
Us, Nope, being the producer and the narrator and host of the Twilight Zone reboot. I thought
He
the
was
Twilight
also
Zone
attached to the
reboot,
Candyman.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
Candyman. The Twilight Zone reboot actually kind of stunk, but he was
kind
very
of had
good.
a
He
hand
was
write the
he
show.
was good as the narrator
Yeah.
in it, but he didn't write it.
He had a hand on Lovecraft. Country?
Lovecraft Country as well.
Yeah.
Yep, good stuff. So
But
he's
everything
obviously
he's done awesome
yeah.
work, and I'm just excited for
Yep.
to see what's next.
Andrew, did you have somebody for your next big director?
So the fact that I failed so hard on this direction makes it even better. I already assumed that Jordan Peele and Ari Aster were already top-notch horror movie directors.
Okay.
So I was like doing deep diving.
I did the same thing. So
Okay.
I didn't.
So
have,
I was like researching. I was like, what do we got? What do we got? So I watched a few movies, and I came across this guy, Anthony Scott Burns. He directed a 2020 movie called Come True, and this movie easily slides into my top 10 movies of the last 15 years.
Wow.
I fucking love this movie.
I have
It
to watch
was
this,
so visceral. So it was like, it's an 18-year-old girl who's a runaway. She runs away from home. She's in high school, and she's like sleeping in parks. She's sleeping at her friend's house, and she's having a lot of trouble sleeping. She's having really weird. And she joins. There's a sleep clinic for like sleep study, and she joins that because it's a place for her to sleep every night for the next 3 months. And basically, what they've developed is some sort of way of watching your dreams while you're asleep. And so they're watching her dreams, and they're trying to figure out why she's having these certain reactions. And it's just a fucking... It's a very Cronenberg movie without the gore until the very end. Like, the last... Like, I don't know what else. The music... Do you ever see Drive?
You love that movie,
It's
I know.
the same... So it's him. So the guy that directed this movie is also a DJ. His name is Pilot Priest. He also...
Pilot Priest.
But
is
he,
his name?
that's his DJ name. So he teamed up with Electric Youth, who wrote the soundtrack for Drive, which is probably one of the best soundtracks of any movie ever made. And they make the soundtrack for this movie. This movie, the tension that builds throughout this movie it's almost like It Follows, like tension wise, but it's not that movie. I fucking love this movie.
And you
so
saw,
much. This guy, so he had to have, so his other movies, he directed some other movie called Our House, which I never saw. He was a co-director for In the Tall Grass. So since like 2015,
Ooh, I didn't like that movie.
Since like 2015, he's like 45 years old. He's been doing he's like been developing his way towards being a director, and he came out with this movie.
Gotcha.
And this movie, if this guy can take what he did with this movie and the acting and the soundtrack in this movie, he is up and coming, in my opinion. That's what I'm thinking about when I talk about up and coming.
That's what I was asking. That's what I was asking. About to ask. So you saw what you needed to out of this movie to be like, this guy knows what he's doing.
This is one of my
well-made.
This is my. It doesn't even have to be a horror movie. This is one of my top 10 favorite movies in the last 15 years. I fucking love this movie.
Okay.
And if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's called Come True.
Come True.
So I guess technically my pick would be Rose Glass.
Rose
If we're
Glass.
going for like
Okay.
up and coming.
I also had Brandon Cronenberg, but since
And
he was already picked, what I will say is
You
this
can
guy
pick him too, man. It's
technically
okay.
no. I had this one as a backup. Technically, I think he's had success. He directed The Ritual, The Night House. He's had segments in VHS and VHS 94.
Did you like The Night House?
I did actually not like The Night House.
Oh.
Did you?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I didn't think it was great. I didn't love it, but I thought it was decent.
I thought the twist was cool.
Rebecca Ferguson was good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the twist was very cool. I was like, oh.
Yeah, that
makes
threw me
lot of
for a
sense.
loop. I
Yeah.
was definitely surprised by that. But this director's name is David Bruckner.
Oh.
He is the one that's directing the upcoming Hellraiser reboot.
Yeah.
So
I have high
think
hopes for
if
him.
he if he knocks that one out of the park, I think he's one of those guys that could go from being someone who's known by horror fans to someone that's more of a household name.
Yeah.
I just think if he continues to have this level of success, because
That's September,
I
right?
absolutely love The Ritual. I absolutely love the VHS movies. Night House, I thought was okay. Wasn't terrible.
Was great.
But then, yeah.
Excuse me.
Hellraiser. If Hellraiser.
If you can, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
you must be.
I
excited
have
for that.
I have high hopes, but I also have low hopes because how are you going to remake that movie?
It's also on Hulu.
Oh God.
I'm sorry to say that.
It's not coming out in theaters.
I don't know if it is. Last I saw, it was going to be right. It was going to be right to Hulu. Right
Oh
to
God, I have no interest in that movie. Then I'm not watching it. I give up. It's a Blumhouse.
We don't know. We don't know anything about it yet. All I know is that there is a gender flipped Pinhead. It's a girl now, and then it's going to Hulu.
Better be hot.
Yeah. Shall see. All right.
I'm sure she will be. Too.
All right, this one should be pretty easy to answer, and everybody should have a pretty easy answer for this. Actor or actress, a non-horror actor or actress that you would most like to see in a horror movie in the near future, Mr. Audette.
So, I'd love to see, like, this kind of ties back into my original, like, the first question, where I want to have big directors, big name actors, this, that, and the other thing. I'd love to see someone like Josh Brolin, or like even like Jeff Bridges, kind of just like these kind of like rugged guys, kind
grizzled veteran.
Yeah, you know what I mean. The way
seen
that
that
way that Kurt Russell plays McGreedy in The Thing, I'd love to see kind of that kind of character come through. I don't know what the fuck movie it's gonna be.
Great idea.
But I'd like to see a guy like that I know has that.
I almost said Jeff.
Even like
Bridges,
Tommy
too.
Lee Jones. I would throw
Isn't
in
he
there.
Dead?
No, he's
No
alive.
Country for Old Men doesn't count. We're not giving that a.
Oh, that'd knock out two of my guys.
That's what I'm saying.
That's not a
Brolin
horror movie.
I mean,
it's horror elements.
Horror elements, but it's not a horror. It's a thriller.
No, I know, but
Action
I view
thriller.
that as
That's
a
like
horror
calling
movie.
like Requiem for a Dream a horror.
Kind of, it's a borderline.
It's horrific.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like those answers.
It's not a main.
So I would say like kind of like people like that. Like I'd like to see like some sort of grizzled protagonist or even an Antec. But again, I don't really have an idea for like what I want to play. But I'd like to see him like that. Someone's got chops.
Sure.
I like that.
Catherine.
I like to see people in comedy to get into because I feel like it's the polar opposite.
Like Larry David.
Like Chris Rock.
Yes. Like
I
so.
don't want to see Larry David in anything
Like-
except Curb Your Enthusiasm.
But as a horror movie, that'd be something.
Like Catherine O'Hara.
You could argue Beetlejuice maybe, but like
that's
not a straightforward horror movie.
That's not a scare. Like I want her to be in like a very like because we just saw like Vince Vaughn in that Freaky movie.
Yeah, but
And
I
the
mean,
way
that's
that
a
he did
comedy.
that-
He was also in.
Well, that
He was
was like
also in
dark
Psycho.
He was in Psycho.
One
He
of
was
the
in
worst
Psycho.
movies.
And he
Yeah,
was in
no,
True
but
Detective
that's still a
Season
horror
2.
movie.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
he's been in
He's
horror
been in a few
stuff.
genre
Yeah.
films.
So
Yeah.
you
But
fail.
No. I said Catherine O'Hara.
Oh yeah, that's
She
true.
said Beetlejuice. She was in Beetlejuice, but that's like I mean okay.
Well, that
Well,
is
she's
a horror
also the
movie.
mom in Home Alone.
Right.
Which
She's
is
slap
a
happy.
somewhat horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
I think
All right.
Catherine
I like
O'Hara.
it. Good job. Good
Fair enough.
answer.
Fair enough. Andrew.
I would like to see Benedict Cumberbatch
Ooh.
in a horror movie.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Either as like a detective, like is like Matthew McConaughey in True Detective, or as like the ultimate serial, because I feel like he could destroy that role.
That would be cool. Yeah.
That'd be a good
He'd be
like
great
late
as a serial
reveal,
killer.
Yeah.
like Kevin Spacey in Seven.
Yep.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Where you only get like a good amount of his personality for the last like 20 minutes.
I mean, one of his
Just-
best,
Just that voice.
like
alone.
him as Smog is
Well,
one
just
of the best
he
roles
has
ever.
that very like kind
He's
of
theatrical.
pompousness.
He's like
Yeah.
that like
And then
ability. He's awesome in Sherlock.
I was gonna say
he's
Sherlock.
Smog.
Sherlock's
And he's
great.
Smog.
Yeah. Smog.
Smog's a horror villain. I actually drafted
Yeah.
in the horror draft as
right.
one of the monsters.
Michael?
So I'm going to stick with my original theme of when I was saying before that like I want to see
Bradley Cooper.
prestige for horror movies. I want to see Academy Award nominations pushing to the forefront of popular culture and breaking those barriers. The stigma of horror being only for a certain sect of. My first choice, Leonardo DiCaprio. I would love to see
Really?
Leonardo DiCaprio. in
Shutter
a-
Island
So
doesn't
you're,
count?
going full out. No, it's not a horror movie.
No, it's close, but it's not.
That's like what
I wanna
Jack Nicholson.
see-
That's Jack Nicholson to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
but
Nest.
that's so close though. That's
Okay,
like
so
borderline.
perfect analogy. Let's say Leonardo DiCaprio's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is Shutter Island. I know they're not comparable movies. I know they're not comparable performances.
Oh, they're comparable.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is one of the greatest movies of all time.
Shutter Island is a phenomenal
It's a great movie,
so
but
let's
it's not
besmirch
it's
it.
not on the same caliber as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But I'm saying, let's say that Jack Nicholson's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, for sake of argument, is to Leonardo DiCaprio's Shutter Island, as Jack Nicholson in The Shining is to Leonardo DiCaprio in what?
Blank.
Something huge.
Inception?
Something that is an A-list horror blockbuster directed by a massive name. Let's say, for sake of argument, Scorsese wants to shit out one more movie before he quits.
Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. It comes full fucking circle, baby.
Scorsese makes a horror movie akin
horror
to
noir
yes,
movie.
Can we stop saying horror?
Horror. I'm saying it for dramatic effect. You fuck nut. Akin to The Shining, something like that. Because I mean, Stanley Kubrick was one of the biggest directors in the world when he released The Shining.
100%.
Scorsese is one of the biggest directors in the world, as old as he is. I would love to, like,
even when The Shining came out, he's still one of the biggest directors.
Mike, who directed Shutter Island?
Scorsese. I know,
Yeah.
but it's
so
not.
can we shut up about that movie not being
Matt,
great?
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
This was the point I was making. I was like, if Scorsese, I would, and I wouldn't be
both
surprised.
wrong. You're both wrong.
Okay.
No. I would be surprised if Scorsese was to make a full blown horror movie if Leonardo DiCaprio wasn't.
Right?
Oh, he would be.
They've been in so many movies together. They love each other.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, okay, Shutter Island. Yes, you could argue it's a horror movie.
It's like
a
Prisoners,
more
same
pure
thing.
horror movie.
Yes, a pure horror movie.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, that's my answer.
But what's
Leonardo
pure
DiCaprio.
horror?
Or
That's all interpretive.
I understand that. Yes.
It's a thriller.
Yeah.
Or
He made Cape Fear. That's a thriller.
Yeah. Or obviously Bradley Cooper, I have a man crush on. You can
Oh,
argue
yeah,
maybe
that's-
Nightmare Alley.
I
Here's
would
my
be
1B.
shocked if
Nightmare
you
Alley
didn't
is not a
say
horror movie.
Bradley
It's not a
Cooper.
horror movie.
So
All right, so Matt, I'll start with you here. 5 years from now, what is a movie that will be looked at as a classic that is not currently considered to be one?
Possession.
Possessor.
Possession.
Possession.
Oh, Possession.
Yeah, from 1981. I have to look up the guy's name. It's a foreign name and it's hard, so I need to make sure I can say it
It's,
right. So it came out in 1981. It's a Sam Neill movie. It's Andrzej Zlowski. It's very, very...
Andrzej Zalowski?
Yeah, we'll call
Sure.
it that.
Okay.
Came out in 1981. I'm sure that multiple deep cut Criterion collection motherfuckers would be like, this is like for sure a classic. But have you seen it? Have you seen it? Have you
Nope.
seen it?
no.
Nope.
I can name on 3 fingers people I know that have seen it. And I know people that watch a lot of fucking movies. So this is going to be my pick. I watched it within the last few months, and I've been seeking it out. I finally sat and watched it. Sam Neill in it is incredible.
Sam Neill's in that movie? Oh, baby.
I think it's his best performance out of any movie I've ever seen him in.
Really?
And also the main actress, Isabel Angiani, is unbelievable. It's a heart-wrench. It's just a brutal sit-through to watch. It's definitely a horror movie. It's very gross. It's very intense. Emotionally, it's very reminiscent to what something Ari Aster. It also reminds me a lot of The Brood by David Cronenberg from '79.
Yep.
Manifesting emotions into a quite literal, not necessarily human, but physical, slimy form. There's tentacles. You'll fucking like it.
All right. Tentacles,
worms.
baby.
I'm going to
You
call
had me at
Possession
tentacles.
1981. That's going to be my... In 5 years,
Okay.
this is going to gain the popularity because it's getting released on all these like Blu-ray and 4K
Yep.
things.
So people are finally able
People are
to
talking
watch
about it a lot. Like, and my second one's going to be Ken Russell's The Devils from 1971.
Okay.
Quick.
We talked about that movie last
yeah.
time, right?
Yeah.
Talk about the Devils? Yeah.
Kat, 5 years from now, which movie will be looked at as a classic that is not currently considered to be one?
I have 2.
Okay.
Scream 4.
It Follows
Yeah.
and Us.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
I see. I guess the question I would say, yeah, more to like the average person. But I think both of those movies
Aren't they
for me
already,
are already considered.
Well, and they're
No?
originals. Like
Yeah, so I feel like those already...
but I don't think they're so new. They kind of have to age.
I understand what you're saying. Like, to the average person on the street, if you brought up I would say Us, maybe, because it's a Jordan Peele movie, so maybe it's a little bit more mainstream. But It Follows, I feel like the average
person is
moviegoer-
Craig, and Craig's like, I haven't watched that movie. You're an idiot. Drives me insane. Like, will you watch something?
Craig, I bet you
he
has
doesn't
not-
even watch Stranger Things. Like, come on, Craig.
I guarantee you, Craig has not seen It Follows or Us.
Oh,
So I think
he's seen It Follows.
Cat's
I think he's seen It Follows. He loves Sinister, so he knows good movies. But he's one of those average people that just doesn't watch everything.
Right.
So you're not wrong.
Right.
She's not wrong at all.
No.
I'm right.
You're right.
He's the one that's picking the right movie. A movie from 30-something years ago that's finally going to be made 40 years ago.
No,
And people are finally
I
like,
understand
it took
why.
Like, what
this
year is
long
it?
because
I understand why.
nobody pays attention to movies.
Andrew, what's going to be a classic?
Mine's
in 5
not
years?
going to be even close to right because I picked Possessor. That movie is fucking awesome, but that's going to take...
Possessor is also a great movie.
but that's going to take 30
Possessor
years.
and Possession.
But that's going to take 30 years before anybody appreciates that movie.
Probably.
You're right.
Well, hopefully
That's the
after they
problem.
listen to this, then at least...
Yeah,
handful of
someone
people
watch
think
it. Brandon Cronenberg, awesome movie. That's gory as fuck.
We have to give some flowers to Brandon Cronenberg. On
We
this
do
episode,
have to give
'cause
some
I think
flowers to him.
He's been mentioned on multiple.
As he should be.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Flower.
Yeah. Yep.
flowers.
Yeah.
Deserves to be mentioned for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I'll before I go here, I just want to give another shout out to somebody else who's contributed.
I guess they contributed to a question.
To this episode tonight. Very big thank you to our buddy James, who is a listener of the show and always gives us good feedback. And we asked him some of these questions. We did ask him this question, and his answer was The Witch. So that's another one where I would say I think to me that's already a classic.
Yeah.
But he is on board the train of the fact that Eggers is going to continue to make great movies. Already done The Lighthouse. And that The Witch is a great, slow burn psychological horror movie that will be a classic in a few years, without a doubt.
I agree.
I thought it was a classic.
I'll give it another decade and a half.
Yep.
But yes, I think eventually it will be a classic.
Because they have to age to consider.
Yeah, I know,
it
but
to be
I
a
feel like
classic.
it's a classic already because I love it so
You have
much.
to realize
Right.
we're also nerds, horror nerds. I'll take one. I have a couple of things here that I think are a little bit more low-key. Like I tried to go a little bit outside the box here. Thank you. I had Karen Kusama's The Invitation, which is an extremely underrated movie from a few years ago.
Yeah, there's a number 2 coming up.
Did not know that. There's a sequel coming out to The Invitation? Mm-hmm. I had no.
Is it like the
It's
uninvited?
it's like a wedding
The
invitation.
RSVP.
No, but
The
it's
RSVP.
no. It's literally like it's literally like a completely different invitation, but it's still an invitation.
Another one I had too that I thought was a great movie that's very taut, tense, lots of supernatural elements that turn it fully into horror. The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Oh,
I
I
like
think
that
it's one of
movie.
those movies that's
I love
gonna
that
really
movie.
people are
Great
gonna
movie.
really look back on that.
We
and
should
Great
talk
staff.
about that movie.
Staff. Great cast.
Great
Emil
stuff.
Granted,
Hirsch,
it's only a couple
Emil
people.
Hirsch, Brian Cox. They
The
actually might
OG
have,
fucking Hannibal Lecter, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From my
So yeah,
Manhunter.
The Invitation and the
Yeah.
Autopsy of Jane Doe. All right, next question. The horror movie that you'd most like to see turned into a haunted house. This can now just pretend we have an unlimited budget. Anywhere is going to turn this into a haunted house. Let's say it's going to be at a theme park, so budget is no issue. What movie or TV show or horror property would you like to see turned into a haunted house? Kat, your arms are flailing in the air like
Pick
Jigsaw,
me!
living with Jigsaw. Why don't we start with you?
The
Okay.
horror movie I'd most like to see in a haunted house. Well, actually, it was funny. When I was thinking about this, I actually Googled it because I wasn't sure if it already had been a haunted house. So I looked this up because I wasn't sure if it had already been done or not. And I think it had been done in a small scale in LA, I believe, when I did look it up. But I wanted to see the Babadook as a haunted house.
I don't think I've seen anything about the Babadook
I don't
being a
think
death
so.
in a
There
haunted house.
is. It's a very small scale thing. It's on YouTube. And it looks crazy, and it looked amazing.
Okay.
So I think it has been done, but
I
not on a bigger scale of like Universal
At Halloween Horror Nights.
Nights or like a big thing. But it was cool because it was like the different pages in the book when you first got in there. There was either a real person or a not real person who was like in the shadows as like with the big black cape, and then there was the closet. There was like a lot of like weird things like going through almost like the Babadook book. Yeah, Babadook.
But it'd be cool if it was like that, but like there's never really
right.
the It's just you think you see.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I like
Yeah.
that idea. That's
I think
good.
that actually would work very well for us.
Yeah.
I think it's a great answer.
Thanks.
Really cool monster in Babadook.
Thank you. Thanks.
I mean, you're welcome.
I
Of course.
feel I'm right, and this is nice. I feel loved. Your
All right.
good answers.
So you wanted to start. Who would like to go next? Matt? Andrew?
Sure. Either way, I already have my answer. I'd love
for
it. Just rugged Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Full blown. You go through the butcher. You go through the butcher shop. You go through the slaughterhouse. You go through the gas station.
Yes.
Yep.
The house. You get chased through a cornfield. There's some big fuck chasing you with a fucking chainless chainsaw around. You know what I mean? Full blown. It's been done, but
Yeah, I was gonna say it has to have been done.
That's
no?
my.
I was
pick.
going to say, it has been, but I know your enthusiasm for that movie. I would recommend go on YouTube at some point, search for Halloween Horror Nights Orlando, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They've done it twice in the last, 5 years. And the scale, the sets, the detail, unbelievable. It's really cool. So you would like it, just because they do, video, walkthroughs of what it looks like and everything. It's wild.
I went on this haunted hayride deal when I was a kid, kind of near the Carver Middleborough line, and there was a big chainsaw chase through a corn maze type
That's
deal.
cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of, basically the guy that's driving you around is the one, and the guy's just chasing after you. And I was only probably 9, maybe 10. So I was like, this is fucked.
That's terrifying.
That sounds
yeah,
awesome.
So, yeah, no, Texas Chainsaw Massacre for sure. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1973.
Not the new
That's my
stinky
pick.
one.
Yeah.
Okay? Excellent. Andrew?
Phantasm. That's it. No one cares. I mean, let's be real. That'd be an awesome fucking.
Are you serious?
It hasn't been turned into one yet, so I'll give you that.
That's the one that hasn't
I'll give
been
you
done.
that. I'll give you that.
And it would be awesome. Tall man running through a mortuary,
Those little fucking
hunting those little fucking
Quidditch balls chasing you
Jabberwockies.
around.
All right, so it's time to go back into the well here. We have a couple of different answers from our two contributors.
Yes.
Matty G, Matt Gilbert, and also James again. So James had mentioned as a movie he wants to most see turned into a haunted house is Sinister, which I think would make for a very good haunted house.
buddy.
Great monster, Bagul, very scary monster. It was adapted into a haunted house in Orlando, I think, one time. It was half a haunted house. It was like a mix-up house, a Blumhouse house, actually.
A
so
Blumhouse
it kind of was
It was
done.
a Blumhouse.
A Blumhouse.
A Bumhouse house.
But I think that dedicating an entire haunted attraction to Sinister would be much more effective. You could tell a better story, and it would be much more scary. So I would say that. And then also, our buddy Matt Gilbert said, this is a random pick. I would have never chosen this movie, but I think now, thinking about it, would make for an interesting haunt. The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
Lots of jump scares in
Lot of
that movie.
ghosts.
Lots of ghosts. Lots of dead kids.
And house
Dead people.
things when they
Lots
the
of
door
dead
with the
kids.
red
Dead Bruce
suits.
Willis's.
Dead kids.
Nothing creepier than dead kids.
Yeah. And
Right?
the color red as a symbol in different things.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
The number 6, the 6.
Right.
They put
right,
that a
yeah,
lot in the movie.
yeah.
There's the 6.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
So
Devil.
I'll continue the Stephen King theme throughout a lot of tonight, and I'll say that I think that it would make a great haunted house because you could do some really cool creature effects if you did a haunted house based on The Mist. I fucking love that movie. One
Lots
of
of
my
good
favorite
worms in
Stephen.
there.
One of the best.
There's actually there's a tentacle creature.
That's a
in The Mist.
top. That's a top 3 Stephen King adaptation.
Adaptation.
All
For sure.
time.
Yep, agreed. I had that one down, and then also I would really love to see a Balls to the Wall. Again, tough to do because of all the practical effects. Another, I guess, tentacle monster movie. The Thing.
Yeah.
The Thing would make for a fantastic haunted house.
I did
never done that?
rewatch
Or
the Thing
Alien.
the other day, but I
Yeah.
didn't feel like I needed to bring it up.
Yep,
But the
for
movie
sure.
rocks so hard.
It certainly does. All right, so we're getting down to the nitty gritty in the end here of questions, or not the nitty gritty.
These are the
I guess
quick
the
picks.
end.
These are the quick picks.
A
No need for
movie, a
in-depth
horror
answers.
movie that you would go back in time to watch in theaters.
I have several,
Matt.
so skip me.
Okay, Kat.
The Shining.
Cool.
Great answer. That was one of my answers as well.
Bam.
Shining.
It
That's
done.
It.
Alien.
Alien. Okay. I had The Exorcist as well as The Shining.
Awesome choice.
I would just love to go back and see if the audience
calamity.
reaction was the chaos that ensued when this movie was screened, as everybody
People
says.
throwing up and going,
Yeah.
oh!
I guarantee you never actually happened.
No, probably
Oh,
never
it
happened.
did. From what I've heard, it
Really?
did. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Go for it.
I have The Exorcist as well.
Go for it.
I fantasize about being able to be wrapped around a fucking movie theater sidewalk and waiting in line for 3.5 hours to get in and see The Exorcist on December 26th, 1973.
Opening day?
Yeah. I won't say the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because I can't imagine that was a wide release.
Right.
But I will say The Exorcist. I will say Rosemary's Baby is my second.
Ooh, good one. Good one.
Because I know that wasn't necessarily like the hype, but just going and seeing that and the way that ending to me is the most phenomenal horror movie ending arguably ever, in terms of how horrific it really is when you think about it. And to see that in theater and just to be in a theater full of fucking people, especially in 1968, when I imagine is so over the top, would have been fucking phenomenal.
You know what I like about that answer too is like when we went, so me, Mike, and Kat went and saw The Last Night in Soho at like the Plymouth Pawtucket.
Oh yeah,
Plymouth
and
Pawtucket.
it was just a bunch of old ladies. There was like 4 old ladies there,
And us.
and us watching this movie. And that was the reaction of the crowd, was like these old ladies and then us.
They
So
walked
it
out of
was,
that movie and they looked at us.
What are we
What
watching?
the fuck happened?
And I was like, I love that movie.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my god, I'm offended.
Yeah, they were very like so what did you think
They
of it?
seemed
'Cause
very- they
obviously
seemed very
we all
upset.
walked out,
They
like,
seemed
together.
very concerned
Yeah.
about
There was-
everything.
Well, that's the thing.
Maybe-
Like back in the
yeah.
day, like going to the movies is like if you don't see the movie in theaters, you don't see the fucking movie.
Yeah.
There was
Right.
so long before movies A got released on TV and B came on VHS. So anytime a movie comes out, everybody goes to see it.
Yep.
Whether you're a horror fan, a Western fan, a comedy fan, a drama, anything.
Right.
If the movie's out, it's Friday night.
You're
You're
going to
going to
see
the
it.
fucking movies,
Yep.
and you see Roman Polanski, you see Mia Farrow, you see all these fucking big names. You're like, all right, let's go. We're
do
going
it.
to see
Yeah.
Rosemary's
We're going to see
Baby.
a motion
And
picture
then
tonight.
and then you have that fucking "It's the year is one." Satan
Dude, that must
lives.
have
And
been
it's just
such
like, oh my
what a great
God,
time to be
dude, like,
alive. Like when that was when movies were like that was it. That's all you have. Like, I
The
would've
Shining-
gone
That's why I
every
was
week.
like, this is my favorite like question to think of.
Yeah.
Is just like going back in time, like what's that movie?
But like, could you imagine
capture that
the
like
final
fucking
5 minutes?
essence of?
Like
The
final,
Shining
like,
and the Shining
20
and
minutes
Alien,
of-
are
or
two
Alien
great
at the
answers,
end,
too.
like
Oh,
just
God.
freaking.
Alien
like,
is probably
oh
great,
my
too.
god!
Oh god, dude, seeing the chest
Jaws.
burst, the original chest burster scene in theaters when you had no idea what was going on, must have been.
Yeah, you know
So
why?
horrific.
Because there was barely any trailers.
Yep, that's true. This was also in
Halloween is
1978.
probably a good one too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which, hold on, wait. Can we talk for a second, by the way, about the thing you sent to the group chat, Andrew? That on
Oh,
the
yeah.
fist holding
That
the
was pretty
knife
cool,
on the
right?
Halloween
I noticed
poster
that.
is
I
a
was like, oh,
screaming
damn.
face. Never knew that. So
I
if you
never.
didn't know this,
I didn't notice that. Someone else.
dear listener,
noticed
somebody
it
pointed this out to
tonight.
Andrew. Look at the original poster for Halloween from 1978, and the hand that grips the knife is a screaming face at one point.
wild.
Look for it. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. Okay, we're moving here. We're moving because we're over 2 hours. What is the one horror item already announced to be coming out sometime in the undefined future that you are the most excited for? So this can be a movie, a TV series, a book, something else, a haunted attraction, anything you want.
What's a book?
The thing that has been announced that's coming in the future that you're the most excited for, Matt. Cat.
The Quiet Place spin. That's coming out next year.
Okay.
Boo.
No, I'm excited for it. I
Is
like
it
The
is
Quiet
it is
Place.
it is it another movie or is it a TV show or what is it? I'm sure it's going to be a movie.
Are you a
because
I think
it'll
it's
make
a
money.
movie. Yeah, I am a horse, of course.
But of course.
Moving on.
Yeah, it says A Quiet Place Day 1.
Quiet Place Day 1. Okay.
So it's the next installment in the first.
So is this going to star John Krasinski? Is he going to be in it like when the original stuff happened? Like, do you know? Maybe they haven't released that yet. I have no idea.
I don't
I'm
think
just
that they
asking
have
you.
released.
All right, so you don't know a lot about it. That's fine. We don't know a lot about it because it's in the future, but it hasn't been. It hasn't been
Tis to be
made
yet.
So
Yeah.
Paramount didn't announce the title of the next. Wait. They revealed the Quiet Place spin-off prequel is called A Quiet Place Day 1. That's all,
Okay.
and it comes out next year.
Awesome
That's
story.
original. I kind
Loved
of
it.
like that better than the.
Yeah, I don't want to know anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And again, this should be brief because we shouldn't know a lot about these projects.
Right.
Andrew, did you have something?
Hellraiser and Prey. That's all I need to know about.
Okay, so you're shitting on Hulu, but you're naming 2 Hulu things?
Well, I didn't know that they were Hulu, and now I'm gonna shit. So here's what's gonna happen: is I'm gonna be extremely disappointed.
Well, so I also had Prey as one of my things, but it wasn't my first thing.
Hellraiser is a Hulu.
That's correct. I already told us tonight. When we talked about Hellraiser, remember?
I know, but
Clive Barker has been a Hulu fucking monster.
yeah,
I think he has a deal with
Book
Hulu.
of Blood.
Yeah.
Books of Blood was actually good, though.
All right, so there you go. So reserve your judgment
That
until you
was
see
Hulu,
it.
but I still have no faith.
Well,
Losers
you have faith
in
in
Hulu.
Clive Barker.
I'm gonna put my balls on the table and say that Prey is gonna be fucking awesome. I think
Okay.
Prey looks dope. It's such an awesome idea for a way to continue the Predator franchise that has not been done.
But is that Hulu?
Yes, it is. Dan Trachtenberg, I believe is his name, the guy that directed 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Michelle Trachtenberg.
Yeah,
well,
she was
maybe.
good.
Spy.
Well, he's as far as I know,
awesome.
he's the most famous for directing 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was a fucking awesome movie.
John Goodman.
He's directing the new Predator movie, which is called Prey. I guess my big answer here, what I'm most excited for that's coming out in the future that we know next to nothing about, is the Alien TV series that's coming to Hulu that's going to be written and directed by Noah Hawley.
Damn, we all better get free Hulu subscriptions. Yeah.
Right? So,
More Hulu.
obviously, there has not been a lot of movement in the Alien franchise over the last few years. Ridley Scott failed with Alien
Swallowed
Covenant.
by Disney.
Even though I think Alien Covenant's a very good movie and Prometheus has a lot of good ideas, I don't think they're bad movies. They've got a bad rap. Then Disney bought Fox, which owns the right to Alien, and all this, basically everything goes into development hell. But there is going to be a straight to Hulu Alien series. And Noah Hawley directed Legion, that was a FX series. He also is in charge of the Fargo reboot series. That's
I love Fargo.
which is great.
Fargo's fantastic.
Yep, it's a good show. So he's done a lot of good stuff. I'm interested to see where he takes this, and obviously anything with the Alien franchise is very exciting to me. That's my the Alien TV series. Who's next? Did we miss her? Did we get her?
We got everybody.
Get
I gotta
everybody.
go. Yeah.
Matt's turn.
All right, so I definitely am excited for Salem's Lot, which got pushed out to 2023.
Yes, that's
I'm
the
excited
answer, too.
for Rise of the Evil Dead, or Evil Dead Rise.
Yes.
And then I'll have to, I guess I'm excited, like kind of off-brand horror. I'm excited for Aronofsky's The Whale.
Brendan Fraser, baby.
Yeah, I guess it might not necessarily be full-blown horror. It's going to have horror elements for sure, because it's Aronofsky. I'm also excited for Gaspar Noé's Dario Argento.
Okay.
Actually, I have one more. Sorry.
Wait a minute.
I've been waiting for this movie to come out on streaming for a long time. I guess it was a big hit in a lot of film festivals. It's called Speak No Evil, and I believe it is a Belgian film. I could be wrong, and I apologize if I am, but it should be coming out apparently on like Shudder or something streaming within like the next like month or two. It's supposed to be a summer release.
I feel like I saw that summer.
It's supposed to be really fucked up. I guess it's got a crazy ending, so I'm looking forward to that.
Fair enough.
And those are my lists.
Okay. Kat, I'm amazed that you didn't say Hocus Pocus 2, which I know is coming out already, but
Yeah.
that would have been one thing for sure that I would have thought that you
I
would
am okay, can I say that? Hocus Pocus 2.
Sure,
Okay.
of course. There you go.
There.
Hocus Pocus 2.
I forgot about it.
Wow.
I even mentioned it earlier.
This is probably our longest episode to date. But I think that's all we got for tonight. We covered...
No, that's it. That's it. We don't need that. It's too long.
These would be off on tangents like you fucking read
Where
about.
Wombat? That's all I got.
Where Wombat?
So
we
there
can
you
we
go.
can talk about that. Maybe we can incorporate a new segment. We'll talk
I want to
about
be
later.
a mermaid. Can I be a mermaid?
I no longer know what's happening. Oh my
That's
goodness!
what it says on the side.
Yeah, just put
It's
that
on the
away.
outline.
I know. I understand. Guys, fun tonight? Did we have a good time? Good
Yeah,
topics, right?
blast.
Good topics for discussion. Okay. Why don't we quit while we're ahead? We'll pull a Costanza and we'll walk out in a high note. How about that? Debating that this is all a high note for the last 2 hours and 15. We shall see. But anyway, here's where you can find our show. Big hint, you can find it wherever you're listening to our show right now. Next week, we'll be there again. But we're also on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, and wherever else you may get your podcasts. This has been another episode of America's Hometown Horror. My name is Mike. I've been your host. Golf clap, please. I have been joined by my fellow co-hosts, Matt, Kat, and Andrew. All you lovely people, please say a good evening. your audience.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Adios, muchachos.
That's my other move.
No, that's mine. I say adios.
I say adios, muchachos.
You say good evening.
Peace, bitch.
Bye.
Fuck y'all, motherfuckers.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and just wanted to say thank you again for listening to another episode of our show, because of course, we would be nothing without you listeners. If you are interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I would highly recommend you check out some shows by our cohorts on the Inebriart Podcast Network. That's right, the Inebriart Podcast Network, folks. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find the Inebriart Podcast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, Retro Redoctopus, and Old Colony Cast. Head on over and give them a listen.